Happy Friday, everybody. You've made it to the end of the week, and you know who else has made it to the end of the week and actually been vindicated and acquitted is our friend Kyle Rittenhouse. I know that Elijah would have been thrilled to talk about this, but he is, in fact, I believe, at this point on a plane to Kenosha to talk to Kyle because they are friends, believe it or not. And maybe we might get Kyle in studio at some point in the next couple weeks or a couple months. Who knows? But I wanted to talk about this because I know that a lot of you have been invested in this story, and the fact that we finally got an acquittal back is amazing. I know that a lot of us felt really strongly about the fact that it felt like, in a lot of ways, self-defense itself was on trial here. Sarah, I know that you've got a lot of feelings towards this as well. This is amazing. You actually were the reason I found out because you texted me saying that you cried.
Yeah, I was texting everyone like, "Are you watching this? Are you watching this? Are you watching this? I'm crying. Oh my gosh." Yeah, there was a lot, including, like you mentioned, self-defense on trial, the devaluing of private property to begin with.
Oh,
I mean,
for sure.
There's just so much at stake here. Mm-hmm. And I think while there are still reasons to be very pessimistic about the state of America, I think this was a very solid win.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I mean, the leftists took the L on this one in a totally unironic way. Guys, my name is Sydney Watson from the Creatively Named channel on YouTube, Sydney Watson. Also joined tonight by the beautiful and the lovely Sara Gonzales from her own show. You're supposed to intro
The News and Why It Matters. That's me. We'll
Guys,
pretend like Sydney remembered it.
I do know what your show is because I go on it. Guys, we got a lot coming up in this episode. We are live in Dallas, Texas, and you are here. It's nice to get to the end of the week and have a bit of a win. I mean, this is, I feel like a lot of us were looking forward to this and we finally got it. Sarah's not paying attention to me at all.
What? I'm sorry. We're having technical issues. I am so glad that we are at the end of the week.
Yeah.
That we have Thanksgiving coming and we can finally take a sigh of relief.
A breath.
Yes. Just a little breath here.
Mm-hmm.
And pause for a moment before we pick up the craziness that will likely ensue very shortly.
Very true. You know who's not good at taking breaths, though, is my good friend Jonathan Doyle.
This is so true.
From
Oh, I
Off
love
Commie.
calling him Jonathan. That's great.
This isn't funny. Also, the technical difficulties were literally just you not wanting to put on your headphones.
So
as I understand
listen,
it.
my
No, we're not
IFB
gonna
was
do
not
this.
working.
We're not going to do this.
And
Not
now I
tonight.
have to put on the headphones because
Not
I didn't
tonight.
want to mess up my hair, but my hair doesn't look actually
Not on
particularly
International
great tonight,
Men's
so it's
Day,
fine.
John.
Literally. I don't understand how, and like, it's just, it can't happen. Maybe any other day, but not on International
This is a
Men's Day.
sacred day of the year, okay?
It is. It's
The
a
most sacred.
It's a day for the boys in general because our hero has been acquitted. And my story wasn't as cool as Sydney's. You know, I didn't have some woman texting me, he got acquitted, I'm crying. I just had he himself text me, hey, by the way, not guilty, which was epic.
Here we go.
Seethe. Not that it's a competition, however,
we go.
seethe.
Here
So
we
that
go.
was fun. But yes, we are excited to get into some of this on International Men's Day. Can we get Kings in chat, please, for the boys, for our boy Elijah, who's currently in Kenosha, for me,
Yeah.
with the epic Better Dead Than Red t-shirt, which you can find. I will shamelessly plug this at Off Commie merch. Okay, your turn to talk.
I thought you were out of stock at the moment. From
We
the
are.
merch.
We are. We will be back, though. We will be back bigger and better. New designs.
Supply chain.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is.
I hear that. I hear that.
So I figured that given that the news has been very boring today because Kyle was acquitted and therefore that's mostly what's been all over my feed, I figured that we could take a live look at what the leftists have been looking at. I don't know if you guys saw the leftists
The
outside
tears.
the courthouse. Yeah. There's
Cry more
one video
lips.
that a friend sent me that I just wheezed. I was like, this is beautiful. Can we play that, please? I just want to start this episode off by letting everyone know how the leftists are reacting to this news. Because
Oh, I saw this.
I am a monument.
What?
Fuck America.
You're not.
she's saying, I am a monument, I think. I don't know. It's hard
Does she
to,
know
but
what
then-
that word means?
I don't think so.
How about she just said "fuck America" and then covered her face with an American flag mask? What?
Well,
they're
it's
losing
not,
it.
This is as far as they can get was the fuck America.
Those
She's trying to be a meme.
Why is that your mask?
Those dramatic displays, I think, can teach us all a very valuable lesson about like interacting with the other side, because oftentimes I think we fall into this very like marketplace of ideas-esque, like, well, how do we change minds? How do we get these people on our side? Which I think is almost this like inclination towards a nostalgia where, you know, we can all come together under one flag. And it's like, you look at a woman like that who's literally having a meltdown, or even the people who are having meltdowns after Trump won in 2016. You know, there's the very famous clip of the somewhat androgynous, though still a woman, you know, in the green jacket when she was like, no, she was screaming. And it's like, even if it were an issue like, you know, the wage gap or something very surface level, these people are very passionate about their opposition to not only our views, but like what we represent as a whole as people who are sympathetic towards like America and what we stand for. So it's like, you could never sit down with somebody like that who is passionately anti-America or anti-whatever and like convince them with a piece of paper, like, oh, you know, write it out for them. This is actually why we're correct here. The facts, here's whatever. They would never view that and be like, oh, interesting. And then bring that same passion to now on our side against the opposition. And it's literally like, not to, you know, get in the sort of boomer take, but it's like the 2 minutes hate in 1984, where because of propaganda conditioning, people have been mobilized against everything that is sympathetic to the idea of America with this vicious hatred. And it's like, you are never going to convince people like that because they are not motivated by facts or logic or reason or any sort of allegiance to the truth. They are motivated purely by emotions, and their emotions have been manipulated such that they serve the interests of the American regime against the American people. So even if it were something like we said, you know, with the wage gap, where you could like explain it to them clear as day, maybe that's even still up for debate. They could take that, well, you know, I'm going to check your sources. I'm going to see what my sources say. Something like this with the Rittenhouse case, where it is on video. Thank God. It is so clearly a case of self-defense, and people still literally believe. Not even that, oh, well, you know, he shouldn't have been there. The average libtard take is that he showed up to a peaceful protest akin to something of like, you know, the civil rights movement protests, and he just opened fire. That is literally what these people believe.
His mom drove him across state lines with a weapon. Right, across state lines with a weapon, where he opened fire on black people and killed them.
My drive
That's what they think.
here today was actually a longer time in the car than Kyle's drive to Kenosha.
Well, MLK's dream was that white children and black children could burn down buildings together.
Was it?
Unironically?
Yeah, that's the quote they don't tell you about, you know.
Sometimes I can't tell when you're kidding and you make these jokes, and I sit here and like the little cogs in my brain are turning, and I'm going, is Brandon
MLK completely would have been in support of Black Lives Matter 100%.
I mean, Malcolm X would have liked it.
Yeah, but Malcolm X was a different Malcolm X was the...
He was about that life.
the more aggressive.
100%.
We refer to this. We refer to this in my community as the concept of the George Floyd conservative.
What is your community?
The broader HOC expanded universe. I don't know. Over on my channel, where I regularly post content, by the way, we refer to this as the George Floyd conservative, because you look at like what's happening now with CRT and Black Lives Matter, and people who have been raised in the public education system have been indoctrinated into thinking like that the civil rights movement was good and Martin Luther King is this American hero. And so they don't realize that those ideas in themselves are like liberal ideas that were taught to them purposefully. And so there's this sort of nostalgia like, MLK never would have supported Black Lives Matter. He advocated for peaceful protests. And it's like, you look at the race riots in the 60s and some of the journal writings he had, also the fact that he was like an astroturfed communist activist, or even the fact that all the veterans from the civil rights movement who marched alongside of him, who are still alive, are now all in support of CRT and Black Lives Matter and all this stuff, who are making the same excuses saying these are peaceful. You look at the headlines now in 2020 that say 93% of Black Lives Matter protests are peaceful. And you kind of wonder, well, maybe those were the same types of headlines that contributed to the writings in the textbooks that we were all reading when we were in school, that they were just peaceful sit-ins and stuff, ignoring all the race riots that happened. So then we get to the concept of now, 50 years from now, when conservatives, assuming trends continue, are being rounded up and mass executed, you're going to have people saying, this is not what Black Lives Matter was about. As a George Floyd conservative, we advocate for it. And so that's what it is because we are so just desperate for validation from people who hate us. We want to, well, let's debate on whether or not it's okay to kill children. Let's debate on whether or not this kid should be in prison for the rest of his life for defending himself. It's like, we shouldn't entertain these ideas as valid. We should like dismiss them because they're stupid.
Can I just too, we also should not entertain the idea that the world is worse off with these guys dead. I'm just going to go ahead and address the elephant in the room. Like, Kyle took out the trash. These guys were bad people. One of them raped children multiple times. I mean, these are
was
not
convicted of it too.
Right. And that's what I don't get with the Black Lives Matter organization. They constantly cling to these people who are just criminals and bad freaking people. George Floyd,
because it's all they have.
Was not a good freaking person. Joseph Rittenbaum was screaming the N-word and he had raped children. Like, and this is their hero.
Yeah.
This is Ida Mae Wells or whoever the hell she is. Was like, oh well, he did this to all these good people, and it's like, lady, this is your hero in all of this. He was screaming the N-word, and he is a criminal with a very long rap sheet. If that is the best person that you can find to hold up as a hero, you guys have a lot of problems.
And it just goes to show like how desperate these narratives are to like pretend that they actually exist, to where even if you go on like the Black Lives Matter website, when you read their history, they say they started because of like, you know, the Trayvon Martin thing or even the Michael Brown thing, both of which were found to be completely justified, even when investigations were done by, you know, Barack Obama's Department of Justice, a black president, a black attorney general. They were found to have been like completely within, you know, a justified use of lethal force. And it's like, those are the people they need. So the bar is set so low that it's like, yeah, we're going to put, you know, and it's one thing with Trayvon where it's like, you know, you can kind of have the pictures of him as like a little kid, and that's one thing. George Floyd is like literally just a black guy. He's got like, you know, amateur porn on his resume. He's got, you know, breaking and entering and holding, you know, pistols to pregnant women's stomachs. And it's like, this is the guy who now, if you go to the Catholic University of America, which I just spoke at, I'm not even kidding you. At the Catholic University of America, there are two icons with Mother Mary cradling a George Floyd.
Shut up.
Get out.
I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding. Imagine how I feel.
Up.
Imagine how I feel. And it's not even like that it's, you know, it looks like a baby and it's supposed to be. It is literally standing in for baby Jesus. And this is at the Catholic University of America, is we have this sort of like artwork being displayed.
The gold casket was a bit over the top.
Just to qualify too with what you were saying before about Martin Luther King, he did make a comment in a speech where he basically said that rioting is the language of the unheard. Like that's he. So he was for more or less rioting as a
100%.
way of pushing a political agenda and of achieving ends. People who argue that he was this pacifist are deeply and inherently incorrect. And again, I think this goes to the fact that, and I hate to use this term, but it's beautifully placed, given that everything today is about white supremacy and white privilege. It's a whitewashing of what he was actually like.
Racist.
Even who Rosa Parks, the woman who sat at the back of you know the whole bus situation. When I found out that was staged, I was like, "Are you kidding me? Really?" And then when I looked into it, and you know, you read these leftist articles that go, yes, it was in fact staged, but, and they try to justify it, and I go, no, you're staging black rights movements. You're staging these things, and then telling me that it's good for society that, you know, this person did this particular thing that they didn't even think to do themselves. You orchestrated it. MLK is just another example of that. It's so weird. Everything that I've ever believed is bullshit.
So true. I'm so happy you said that. I was like, is she gonna say it? And then you said it. I was like, yes, let's go. It was so great. But it's true. I remember looking back on like my education in elementary school, and my music teacher gave me my entire education on the civil rights movement. And I like never really thought about that. But like everything I learned about Rosa Parks and MLK was all through my music teacher. Now I'm thinking back, she was this kind of stout woman, very short hair, gray, didn't have a wedding ring on the finger. So now I'm kind of like painting this picture like Mrs. Camiami was an activist. Yeah, I will name Mrs. Camiami.
Was that really
and
her
it's
name?
Like, yeah. And you have to like understand
That's not real.
No, it's
That's
real.
a fake name.
Greater than sign, it's real. It's like a green text. It literally
news.
is. But it's like, you have to understand that you are not smarter than your grandparents or your great-grandparents. Like I was taught at 6 years old, yeah, everybody just was like, they look different. Ew, like that's not what it was. It's like the great vindication of what we've seen throughout the last 2 years, even with the behavior in these types of cities. It's like maybe it really was about the content of their character the whole time. Maybe you can't actually reduce it to like, oh, I'm 6 years old and I know better than my grandpa who was just this dumb old racist kook who was like, you look different. Therefore, no, it's like because we understand that like cultures just behave differently.
Yeah.
So I do want to get into the Kyle stuff, and much as I love this topic of conversation, we can totally circle back to it, as Jen Psaki would say. But for those who haven't seen it, for those who've not been following so closely today,
no.
I do. It's not depressing. Don't worry.
Here we go.
I want to play the clip of Kyle receiving the news that he was found not guilty.
Cry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's really nice. It's really nice to watch. Not the fact that he's crying, but just the reaction and everything is pretty moving. I'm not even an emotional person, and I was getting choked up watching this. So can we play that, please, Brandon?
You're gonna make me cry again.
Joseph Rosenbaum. We, the jury, find the defendant Kyle H. Rittenhouse not guilty. As to the second count of the information, Richard McGinnis, we, the jury, find the defendant Kyle H. Rittenhouse not guilty. As to the third count of the information, unknown male, we, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty. As to the fourth count of the information, Anthony Huber, we, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty. As to the fifth count of the information, Gage Grosskreutz, we, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty.
Members of the jury, are these your unanimous verdicts? Is there anyone who does not agree with the verdicts as read? Would you wish the jury pulled?
Aw, Sarah.
It gets me every time. As a mom, it just really, really gets me. I just, I really was very emotionally invested in this case because you see how young white men are treated in society so often. And there was another example of that. And, while I am obviously a, quote, person of color, at least my oldest boy is very white-skinned. So I just, watching him have to go through this, watching his mother have to go through this, watching his family have to go through this, you saw him before the verdict was read, you saw him standing there and you could tell everything on his face showed that he was just completely terrified. He was just completely terrified that his entire life was over. His entire life was just there, ready to be taken from him. And just the relief that he had to have felt just as a mother. Like my whole heart goes out to him, just watching the case, seeing the facts, knowing that he did the right thing and was trying to do the right thing by protecting private property in the first place. It just was, I just can't even imagine how he felt and how relieved he was in that moment and the adrenaline that must have been going through his body at that point.
I totally agree. I think that if you are not as a woman crying or as a man breaking drywall upon seeing that footage, then you're not like a real human being. Like he, exactly as you said, was filling the vacuum that was created because men who are in charge of protecting the community, whether that's through like law enforcement or even like, leadership politically, like they stood down and allowed for this to happen. And so he filled that vacuum as a 17-year-old, did so brilliantly. I mean, I've spoken to current and ex like Navy SEALs who said, I couldn't have done that same thing. And no one I know could have done that, let alone be a 17-year-old with no prior training, like significantly. It really was a miracle. And like I told, like he is my hero. He is one of the greatest American heroes with definitely in the 21st century, other than like maybe Donald Trump, who's like a political hero, but like what he represents is just so significant. I think that for the rest of his life, he should basically be paid like a fixed salary of like $15 million to just play video games, do whatever he wants to do. Because he's just a kid. Like when I first got in contact with him, we were trading memes.
Do you love how he finds a way to be like,
stop,
I know him.
Stop. That's not what this is about.
He's been hanging out with Elijah too much,
That's not what this is about. This isn't to illustrate. This is
when I was telling him about my new merch coming out.
To illustrate a point. When I first got in contact with him, I didn't want to like blow up his phone. He's very busy. And so we were just going back and forth, and then I sent him like a meme or something, and he like sent like some crying, laughing emojis, and I just didn't respond because I was like, okay, he's busy.
Yeah, you don't want to bother him.
Exactly.
Right.
And he double texted me like 30 minutes later with just a picture of his dog with no context. And I almost choked up at that because he is literally just a kid who's like, I like dogs. Do you like dogs? Like, like here, look at my puppy. He's so cute. Look, he's sitting on the fireplace. He's not supposed to do that. And it's like these people want to ruin his life.
Yes.
And people don't often think or don't think about the reality of their own impermanence. Like every situation you've ever been in, whether you're in a fight with somebody or, you almost get hit by a car, you have always been able to talk your way out of every situation or get out of so you can continue on, see what happens next, to not only be in a position where you are almost executed on 3 separate occasions by people, actually even more than that, and be able to get out of that. But then the state weaponizes all of its legal infrastructure against you. To have him be standing there knowing in less than 3 minutes, I'm going to find out whether or not I'm free or whether it's over. I will never get to have freedom again for the rest of my life. I will literally just be confined into this area. Everything I've ever enjoyed, whether it's, going to the movies with my friends or, building a birdhouse even, that is all taken from me because evil people are in charge of things. We don't think about how scary that is because we are so accustomed to that framework of, I'll be fine. I've never been in real danger before. I can always get out of it. Like there's going to be a point when death comes or your life ends, whatever capacity that is, where you can't get out of it and you're screwed. And he looked that in the face on more than one occasion. One of that was today. And to watch that and even feel like secondhand, maybe even 1/10 of 1% of what he must have been feeling was just so overwhelming.
Well, I mean, looking death in the face is a very disconcerting concept. You know what's also really disconcerting, Sarah? Is having under eye bags.
Oh, don't I know it?
If you've got under eye bags, guys, they're very unattractive. Let's be real. But you know, puffiness around the eyes is a problem not only for women but also for men, especially Elijah, because he's the one who loves giving you guys this. He loves telling you about Genucell, which is sponsoring our show today. So if this sounds like you in the morning with your under eye bags and the puffiness, you're not alone. Apparently, this affects millions and millions of men and women all across the country, all around the world. Me especially. In fact, I looked at myself in the mirror today before I put makeup on for the show, and I thought, this is rough. This is what aging is, and it sucks. So we want to introduce to you Genucell Serum, which is a plant-based stem cell technology from Chamonix. Susan from New Jersey apparently says that she has been using Genucell for a couple months, and the puffiness around her eyes is gone. Even the crow's feet and small lines have disappeared and haven't come back. So she loves the product. Sarah, do you use this? Because I know they sponsor your show too.
Yeah, I have used it. The eye bags for sure, because I don't sleep. I have two boys,
you have
like
kids.
I said. Yeah. And neither of them sleep, and I don't sleep. So I have to use this to feel like I'm human and that I don't look 100 years old because of Genucell.
Well, I was going to say too, Kyle might even need to use this at some stage in the future because of all the stress from going through a trial like this. Might be beneficial because, again, guys, if you have the under eye things, they can be dark, they can be unattractive. Covering them up, especially if you're a woman, is a total pain in the butt. Makeup can do a lot of things, but it's not always the best for these type of things, which is why Genucell is super fantastic. So from until now, until Thanksgiving, you can see the difference for yourself with 60% off all Genucell packages.
Wow.
Just go to lovegenucell.com/youarehere. That's LOVE. So love Genucell, GENUCEL.com/youarehere to get 60% off packages. Order now, and you get express shipping, which is free. And that's lovegenucell.com/youarehere. I'd keep spelling it, guys, but I'm not Elijah. And I can't read. You guys know I can't read.
I love when they want us to spell out the words that are very basic.
It's so challenging. I go,
like,
no.
I feel like if they don't know how to spell the word built, I can't help them.
It's like, I don't know if
them.
you should be buying chocolate bars and things if you can't spell. I don't know how to help you.
Maybe spend your money on Hooked on Phonics. I don't know.
Built balls.
Anyway, so no, I completely agree with what you have to say about Kyle basically knowing that if it came back that he was found guilty, that's his life gone in a heartbeat. And when you're 18 years old, that's that.
It's everything.
Terrifying.
That's everything. Like, I can't even imagine.
One time, my sister's fiance and I were having a conversation, and he asked me, like, what would be the most, like, terrifying thing what is the most terrifying thing that somebody could say to you before, like, murdering you? And I thought about it, and the answer that I settled with was, you don't get to see what happens next, which is entirely because, like what I just said, with like everything, I'll deal with it tomorrow. Oh, my mom's going to call me tomorrow. Everything in your life is always contingent upon your perception of like this timeline that you're a part of, but you have no idea what happens when that's over. So like to hear about whether you're not going to get to see what happens next because you're dying or because like you're just in prison forever, it's like, I can't even begin to imagine what that's like to stare that in the face. And I'm very fortunate that I've never had to.
So can I ask, John, you made the point, which I don't disagree with, that Kyle had everything on the line and, everything was going to be taken from him. He was never going to be able to live a normal life again. But I just feel like there's a large part of that is still true because this even went to trial. Yeah. I mean, I think that is something, and I keep, I talked about this on my show, but I'm trying not to be the Debbie Downer of the occasion because I think it's a huge
totally
win.
changed.
It's a very, it's a very strong win for justice, for the rule of law, for the Second Amendment, for your right to self-defense, and not mob rule. But at the same time, I do also feel like it's hard to sit there and go, I honestly don't think that any law-abiding citizen who is in that position will not just take a second thought, right? You're gonna double think it. You're gonna second guess yourself. You're gonna say, I don't want my entire name dragged through the mud. I don't want the president of the United States to call me a white supremacist. I don't want every cable news program to call me a murderer and a white supremacist with absolutely no facts to back it up. Like, I don't want to have to be fighting just to get my life back. And for what? This guy is going to have this target on his back for the rest of his life.
I think that's true. I am a little bit more optimistic in this particular case.
Whoa, how the tables have turned.
Literally just because the people he shot were white. That is very good for him because we will forever, for the rest of our lives, hear about Trayvon Martin and Michael Brown and all these cases. I think that actually this one's probably going to disappear. Like he'll still have the target and people will still remember it and it'll be able to be like recalled if they ever want to bring it up. But in terms of like what the average American's thinking about day to day, I think it is going to occupy a lesser market share than some of these other stories, literally because the people that he shot were white.
So you think they'll just forget about it?
I don't think they'll forget
memory
about
hole it.
I don't think that it's going to be a situation
they're
where
not bright individuals.
Yeah, I think they'll
be pretty
just
easy for them to squirrel
it away.
I don't know if he'll ever be able to really have like a normal job or anything, but I don't think he'll have to go into hiding. Like, someone like George Zimmerman, like what's that guy going to do? No one's going to hire that guy ever. But I think that
where is he?
He's painting.
Yeah.
George Zimmerman been selling
Excuse
paintings.
me?
But
Yeah, he's actually not a bad painter.
To be fair, though,
God,
I did mean it when I said that I think that he should like just be paid like a fixed amount of money. I think that like we owe it to him almost in a
we've
way.
ruined his life.
Well, he's going to sue people into oblivion. I think he's going to be
hold
fine.
on. Can we back up for a sec? Back up for a sec. If he goes and sues everyone, which is what the assumption is, because a lot of people have in fact defamed him. I mean, like you rightly said, and we actually have the footage of this where the president of the United States said he was a white supremacist. All of this stuff is baseless, and I want to play that clip. Maybe not right now. Let's hold on to it for a sec. But I think you got to back up. So you have to consider a couple of things in this instance. And I'm definitely not, for once, I'm not a pessimist about this because I don't think, it doesn't matter that he won't have a normal job because I can bet you anything he won't need to have a normal job.
Good.
Because somebody will probably hire him, whether it's a media company or something will happen. Whether he
you
wants
mean a media company who could use a new intern for social media?
I feel like
who
I
could that
might
be?
know some media companies. I don't know.
I think that if we take power, we should erect a statue of Kyle Rittenhouse in Kenosha and pay him like $250K a year to guard it with an AR-15.
The point is somebody will hire him because this is often what happens in these situations where you make it big.
Yeah.
It's sort of like the Streisand effect, right? Like if you're not allowed to talk about it, if you're not allowed to access it, people want it more than anything. I don't see him having to live a normal life because his life will never be normal from here, which means that he is not going to go and have a normal job. Someone will find a way of giving him a way of earning a living. If he sues the shit out of all these companies, if he sues and wins, and then he's up for how much did
$250 million.
$250 million is
Nick
what
Sandmann?
Nick Sandmann, the Covington kid made.
By the way, it turned out to be such a disappointment.
Yeah,
he
he
turned out to be such a neocon.
Mitch McConnell's
Yeah.
lackey.
Yeah. No, but you're totally right. He's going to get that. He's going to get the book deal.
So the
He's going
point
to get
is-
the,
I
hope so.
the
So
movie
I hope
rights.
so.
Chris
Yeah, but-
Pratt is
Yeah.
Rittenhouse.
Daily
is-
Caller's got a lit movie to make now.
The point is that he's never going to be normal again, which
Yeah.
he might not want. To be fair, like being in the spotlight is not something that a lot of people want or can hack because it comes with a lot of stresses. Death threats, having people hate you for no reason, having people assume
Not that
things
we know
about
anything
you.
about that.
Not that we would know anything
Nothing
about that.
the death
Everybody
threats.
likes me. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
So there's all these things that come along with this. His life will never be the same. And that sucks if that's not what he wanted. And I assume it probably isn't what he wanted. But the reality is that now, given that he is in the public spotlight, given that he has a tremendous amount of support, I see him taking that,
Being okay.
if he's clever about it,
Yeah.
and being okay. Yes.
So it's interesting that you say that, but I think it speaks a lot to his character and his innocence. And I've said this, I'll continue to say it. They stole his innocence
For sure.
in all of this. They stole his innocence. But I heard from the family representative today. He was interviewed by Court TV, and he said that Kyle had already been taking classes. He was going to school to be certified to be a nurse because he likes to help people. And I was just like, that is just the cutest thing I've ever heard in my life, that this kid, after he's been through all of this, after society has turned their back on him and, labeled him all of these things and left him to rot, that he still was like, I want to go to school to become a nurse so that I can help people. I mean, that really speaks to his character, I think. Now, whether or not he can do that, I don't know. Can he? Because that's a normal life, right?
Yeah.
I don't think he can live a normal life, but it just says
Maybe
a
in a
lot
red
about
state
him.
he could.
He'd make a
Maybe.
great Marine.
That is so true.
It says a lot about him.
Can we
that
get him
he
in the
can
Army?
do it,
He's a
that
pretty
he
good
wants to
shot.
do it.
And to that
is.
point too, like when he went to defend his community and defend, private property, he had his medical equipment on him.
Yep.
because he had his AR-15, he had like, pictures posted with him wearing, clothing from companies that are like, pro-Second Amendment. We can assume that he's at least sympathetic towards like right-wing positions. So for him to be out there still offering medical aid to the rioters who were torching his city, like I would, and I've made this point before on the show, I would not have been that generous.
I wouldn't have either. Absolutely not.
It's like, it's the same thing with the bar for their heroes is so low to where, criminals walk right through, but to where our people are just so generally good that, this kid is like literally trying to help the people who are torching his city. He's like the nicest kid. And they're like, no, he's evil. And even the people who, a random sample size in that crowd who happened to have been shot, all of them were like convicted, like, domestic abusers or like literal rapists, like sodomites. It was just disgusting.
Not good people.
I really do. I want people to know, though, that the defamation or the slander, rather, that this kid has been exposed to is so intense that even you had, like we just said before, the president of this country calling him white supremacist. Can we please play that, Brandon?
Well, look, I don't know enough to know whether that 17-year-old
This is last
kid,
year, guys, just to be clear.
Exactly what he did. But allegedly he's part of a militia coming out of the state of Illinois. Have you ever heard this president say one negative thing about white supremacists? Have you ever heard it? That's the reason I got back in this race, because what happened in Charlottesville. People coming out of the woods carrying torches, their veins bulging.
Coming out of the woods.
Charlottesville is such a non-issue.
Well,
Does he think people still live in the woods?
Dude, I don't even know if Biden knows where he lives.
He doesn't.
What's remarkable about it, though, and I think what's so frustrating to me watching, again, and I say this basically every time we talk about Kyle, is the commentary that you see online and the way that the media outlets and, these people talk about him. I don't know if you guys saw, but today everybody was like, well, this is just an indication that white supremacy and white privilege live on. And I'm like, do you guys realize that if you lived in a white supremacist country, if you lived in a country that preferenced white people and believed white people were better than everyone else, you wouldn't be expressing your opinion.
Yeah, you guys wouldn't have been allowed to burn down freaking cities all summer.
Not
in
even just that. You wouldn't even be allowed to criticize and to express the anti-white rhetoric that you constantly espouse. You wouldn't even be allowed to do it if you lived in a white supremacist country. Can we just like get that clear for a second?
Yeah.
Also, can we also highlight just for a hot second too that Kyle Rittenhouse is probably the worst white supremacist if the only people he's killing are white people. I don't know what planet you have to be on to be this ideologically retarded. You know, they're not even they're functionally retarded. If you're claiming that this is a movement of white supremacy, you need a lobotomy, maybe an exorcism. I don't know, depending on which way you swing, probably an exorcism. But seriously, for fuck's sake, I listen to these people and I think I'm losing brain cells.
I agree.
If I was already
really
low
bad.
IQ, I'm in the ground.
Yeah, and Kyle's part as a white supremacist, that was just poor craftsmanship, wasn't it?
Same with Donald Trump. Kyle and Donald Trump
like-
are on the same level with that. What a horrible job they have
So
been
bad.
doing as white supremacists. Donald Trump gave black people, gave people of color, gave women, minorities the best jobs numbers that they've seen.
And it's funny too, because white supremacy implies that white people want to be supreme and like govern over all other people. When if you ask any white person basically what they want, they just want to be left alone.
Seriously.
Even if you look at the systems of government that were invented by Western civilization, which if you have balls, you will say is European culture, which if you have balls, you'll say is white culture. Like those ideas are all like, hey, let's agree to leave each other alone. Okay, it's these other cultures from the third world. They just don't subscribe to that. And now we're having to deal with that. And they're like, literally, they need to be babysat eternally by these systems of government in these populations. And then they claim that it's like white supremacy because they don't function as well in our systems.
Well, the other thing too, though, is how, and I was telling you this because Sarah, before the show, we were chatting because I was like, hey, is there anything in particular that you'd like to talk about? And I said, what's so funny is that today, everybody's going on about how, if this was black men or if these people were black, this wouldn't have gone this way. It would have been a totally different outcome. And I said to Sarah, I was like, I found an article actually that someone had shared that today, like the 19th of November, a black man was found not guilty on 5 charges where he had shot and killed someone and then shot at a bunch of police officers, and he was found not guilty.
It's one of those
This
things.
happened today, guys. This story happened today.
It's one of those things that they say that is correct, but not for the reason they think. So
Right,
like,
right.
if Kyle Rittenhouse were black, this would have been totally different. Like, yes, because it would have just been another day. Like,
Yeah,
oh, that
exactly.
happened.
Also,
What's
have they
next?
never heard of OJ?
Seriously, you know
OJ's based.
this other story that I found too that made me want to rip my hair out basically said that the Rittenhouse trial was designed to protect conservatives who kill.
And?
Fine, yeah, no, I'm on, you know, I've really gotten to a point, I was just thinking this earlier, I'm at a point where I see this kind of shit, I know that this is dumb and dishonest and ridiculous, and we look at this and we're like, are you kidding me, really? This is really what you're gonna write? And also look at the guy's name,
Jahan Jones?
I clicked it, I looked at his face and I was like, aha, I see.
That is
You don't
totally
think he's
correct, though.
reputable?
Because what they're saying, conservatives don't kill people. We defend ourselves. If you ask any right-wing person, why do you like the Second Amendment? Their answer, if not because I like hunting or, you know, clay shooting, will always be, I want to be able to defend myself and my family. Invariably, that is the answer. Whereas if you ask left-wing people, it's because they like masturbate to this idea of like revolution and things like that. It's a completely different thing. And so that article is actually honest, but not in the way they think. Like it's designed to help conservatives who kill. I think what they realize is that it's impractical to go door to door taking everybody's guns.
Yep.
It's a lot easier to just mobilize these mobs against them and then mobilize the legal apparatuses against people trying to defend themselves as a means of basically achieving the same thing to where people are scared to use their guns. And so it works well. Luckily, we got lucky in Kenosha, but like in Minneapolis, for example, the pressure from those mobs was so intense on the jury, I think, swayed the outcome in a way that was unfavorable to Derek Chauvin. So it's like if you don't have to necessarily be seen being the ones knocking on doors and taking guns. You can just stand back and stand by and wait for the consequences of your media campaigns to then show up in people's neighborhoods. And then you just stand back again, wait for somebody to finally say, you know what? Fuck this, and defend themselves. And then, all of a sudden we're going to get some, I almost said a bad word, some pusillanimous.
Was fuck the bad word?
It was a different F word. A pusillanimous, effeminate man in a little like prom suit, you know, going after Kyle Rittenhouse. It's just like, I don't like that guy. And I wish that we could have seen footage of his face when the verdict was being read.
Yeah, that's true. Can we get back to Joe Biden for a second, though?
Of course.
I think that he has been particularly egregious. I hope that I'm going to work off of the assumption that Kyle is going to file some sort of a defamation lawsuit. I hope Joe Biden is the first person named because, you know, you played that clip. That was not the first time that he alluded or tried to draw the conclusion that Kyle was a white supremacist. And, you know, even today, you heard him on video saying, now it was a benign statement that he made on video with the reporters because it was actually him, or maybe it was a hologram. I don't know. I can't prove it.
It's never clear if he's actually in the room.
Right. I don't know. I mean, he had a probe up his rear. I don't know what happened to him today. He didn't seem to be limping. I don't know, but it appeared to be him. And he was saying, well, we have to stand by what the jury said. We have a process in this country, and it played out. However, his administration then released a statement which I don't believe that Joe Biden probably ever even read. I'm not even sure that he knows exists. However, it did say, the very first line of it did say, while many Americans are angry and confused at this verdict, myself included. And then it went on to, ask people to be calm and not riot because this isn't an election year and they don't want people burning down cities so that they can blame Donald Trump. So you read this and you're like, and then he goes on to say, we really need to come together and heal the divide. And I'm like, well, maybe we could start by you not implying that there is something to be angry or confused about, because anyone with 1 ounce of a brain cell who watched any of this trial understands and is not confused nor angry about anything.
Mm-hmm.
Also, when they say come together and heal the divide,
that means comply with what we're saying.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And I get it. Because we love this country and we just want nothing more than to just all come together again. But that really is just never going to happen to these people. And like I even saw footage, Black Lives Matter protesters showed up at the courthouse and they were like sharing pizza with like the Kyle Rittenhouse supporters. And it was this big sitcom moment. Oh, this is what we need. The establishment fears this. And it's like, no, this is all propaganda. Like them doing that as a gesture is like just a slow way to like disarm you. Like they don't want to compromise anything that they believe. It is just a matter of getting you to slowly buy into like the approved narratives.
Yeah, we're just fat.
Well, hold on. Is the pandemic over if we're sharing pizza?
Yeah, apparently.
Well, as long as Domino's is sponsoring it.
Also, not to get into like the, Dinesh D'Souza, Democrats are the real racist thing, but like Joe Biden has so many quotes throughout his history. Like,
he eulogized a KKK member.
Which one?
Robert Byrd.
A
You're
grand
familiar
wizard.
with Robert? Interesting. I don't know what you've been reading in your spare time, but even he said that like he didn't want his kids growing up.
John's like, women can know
He's
things.
like, you wait.
Why
you're-
would women ever
Who
need to
taught you
read?
to read?
a woman did a smart.
Women should not be reading. If you've ever seen Beauty and the Beast, you're familiar with
We just
this.
don't have eyes,
There was a
John.
character, and you do have eyes.
John, how would they read the cookbook?
It should know these oral traditions. These are very important. You know, the mother teaches the daughter. It doesn't have to be like this sort of textual thing.
Bitch, I can cook and read.
Whatever.
same
See,
time,
you're too uppity. This is the problem. There was a very brave man in a film that you may be familiar with. It's called Beauty and the Beast. His name was Gaston.
Gaston.
And what did he do? He didn't want women reading. He ate lots of eggs and he beat up furries. It's a very simple platform.
Why are the eggs in?
Because he was a big guy, you know. He wanted to eat a dozen eggs so he could grow large like a barge. Those are the lyrics of the song. This is the point that I want to return to this. And even if you look at the context of that film, I believe it was taking place in like a 19th century France. And I believe the literature that Belle was reading was almost like this proto-Marxist stuff. And he was trying to save her from that. And then there was this furry guy, and he was like the villain of the film. Really just goes to show the extent to which Hollywood conditions you into like fearing the strong male and trying to point the young woman's romantic interest towards like this like furry guy in his weird library. And
John, is
kidnapping.
that your favorite Disney movie?
It is not, but
You seem pretty fond of it.
well, it's because it's my political philosophy. It's called neo-Gastonism,
Neo-Gaston,
and it's 3 prongs. You don't let women read, you eat lots of eggs, and you beat up furries. It's the simplest thing in the world. I think
Why have I never heard about this before?
it's in my Instagram
Yeah,
bio.
I was gonna say this is.
Hey, it's grassroots. We're getting off. We're slowly but surely. If you guys want to subscribe to it, we will have tripled our membership within the course of a few minutes.
Yes, John. Oh, we can all get shirts.
It
No,
is literally the
unfortunately,
fastest growing right-wing movement in the
I
country.
can't participate
now.
in your movement because I'm very allergic to eggs. So it's very sad. Very sad.
That is sad.
No eggs for Sydney.
Okay. Well, wait, no,
Unfortunately.
you don't have to eat eggs. It's only for the boys.
It's just
Okay,
yeah,
only
the boys
boy-
just
okay.
eat eggs.
So I don't have
You
to be
can't
strong.
get
I just
strong.
can't read.
Right.
Correct.
You
Okay.
need
Well, I
to
can't read
cook.
anyway, so that's fine.
Exactly.
You're
carry
already
the eggs. You can't eat them.
The last question, and you're not particularly fond of furries.
No. No.
We can agree that you would even be in favor of, say, maybe not in favor, but if somebody were to, beat up a furry, you'd probably turn the other. you'd just-
John, isn't
I
it
would
more
tu- I would turn the
bestiality in
other
that
cheek.
movie? Not so
Yes.
much a furry?
Yeah.
Well, they never. No, they don't have.
I mean, if we have to
I
divide the
assume
lines.
they don't have sexual relations until he turns back into a man. Speaking of
How do you
men,
know?
Well, not in the
I'm
G-rated,
assume.
not in
I'm
the G-rated
assuming. I said
version.
assuming.
This is Disney, so we don't know.
Yeah, the uncut version's
hold on.
way cooler.
Speaking of something demented, because I didn't know if we were going to get onto this, but I found this today and it just killed me. Can we please play the Cucked Rifle Company video, please? This is the lamest thing ever. It's 2 minutes long, so we can cut it halfway through. But I wanted to bring this up just because I thought that, John, you would love this. Basically, they made this thing where they said, "Welcome to the military uniform fabulous fashion show." Not ironically either. This is totally unironic. And it's just the worst thing ever. Can we please play this, please? Yes.
Welcome to the Military Uniform Fabulous Fashion Show, where we invade
Word?
destruction.
Batman hasn't had a carb in 10 years.
Oh, seriously, put your camera paint in my mouth. It's a real life Navy SEAL.
Okay, we have a private. I'm loving it. And his dependopotamus. I want to see more.
There's your bestiality, John.
Yeah, exactly.
We were not sure if the National
You brought it up,
Guard was
man.
gonna show up,
I just happened to have this on hand.
They are.
He may have skipped PT, but he doesn't skip
Who is this for?
I don't know. But Black Rifle made this.
I think they're looking to have a black rifle inserted into them somewhere.
Yeah, for our
Thought I'd be
blind
sitting here as an
viewers,
announcer
I don't
just
even know how to
loving what I'm
describe
seeing on the
this,
runway tonight.
except it's just
It is like Dan
depression.
Bilzerian with a dash of Chelsea Manning. Special Forces, the Green Berets. That boy has a second family in
Did
Thailand.
SNL write this shit? This is terrible.
Essence of being a special operator. Bad operator. Fuck, my dick's still hard. Run the next one.
Oh my God, that is one ugly bitch. No.
Try the deployment goggles.
What are these?
Oh,
it is a deployment 9.
From a diamond in the rough caterpillar to a beautiful blossoming butterfly. That fucking thing took the show. I'm drunk. Run the runway, Marines.
Wait,
You
so
can cut it. It's
are they
okay.
gay
We
now?
get the
I'm
idea.
embarrassed.
Like, are they gay now?
I don't know, but I like, hey, military people, vets, veterans, people who are in active service now, let me know. Do you get this? Is this a joke that makes sense to you? Because I'm not in the military. John looks like he's going to cry.
I'm not. That made me a danger to myself. I was thinking throughout the whole time, just like, okay, I'm waiting for the punchline. Like, what is the joke here? It's like,
I don't know.
we're only pretending to be gay, and we're not gay, and that's the joke. And it's like, okay, but you still look gay. Like, it's like, who's winning here?
John, they're just sucking that dick because it's funny. Okay, they're not gay.
It's ironic. It's ironic dick sucking. That's what that is.
Yeah. It's for the joke. It's for the lols.
You're Elijah-ing right now because I was like, we're gonna go a whole episode without a dick being mentioned, and yet here you go.
There it is.
I mean,
there it is.
what else are you supposed to respond to?
There
with that?
is the man pickle reference that we needed in this episode. You brought it to
I've seen
us.
like LGBTQ commercials that weren't as gay as that.
But I mean, for real though.
Also, what did it have to do with coffee?
I don't know. I don't know anything
It's like
anymore.
it's that Stone Toss comic where it's just like, here's how we're gonna sell burgers, and it's a picture of like two guys kissing.
Yeah.
It's like, how is that gonna help us sell burgers? And I'm like, burgers? Like, that's not the point.
The thing that's so weird is, and the reason I wanted to talk about this and the reason I put it in the rundown was because obviously, like, we did dedicate a bit of time to trashing cucked companies that sell coffee to may or may not be this one. I don't know. Like, I'm not saying that it is. But obviously because we have strong feelings about this, Elijah and I do when we've talked about it, and because of the way that they reacted to Kyle, I was like,
Yep.
what is this?
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
and I'm not saying this right. I can appreciate when something's funny on the left or the right, regardless of political persuasion.
Yeah.
I can totally accept that. I can have a laugh even if I don't agree politically with the person who made it or the outlet or whatever.
Of course.
In this regard, even though they're technically right wing, I still think this was the lamest shit I've ever seen in my life, and I don't know who this was geared at. I really don't. Maybe this is a military thing. Maybe it's funny to them. I don't understand.
It would have been funny like 30 years ago because the contrast would have been very obvious. But now, because everything is so gay, it's kind of like, are you really joking? Like, it's almost like this sexual McCarthyism. Like, are you gay? Are you gay? Like, that aspect
We're
has
totally
become
not gay.
less of a joke and more like real as time has passed.
It's just so strange though too, because does the military act like this would be my question.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe the Navy, but does the
On the Harvey
Army?
Milk?
Yeah, dude.
well,
Like,
yeah, I mean, now or 20 years ago.
I don't know.
That would be the question.
I mean, whatever happened to don't ask, don't tell? They're saying it a little too loud here.
Yeah, I mean, I expected you to have more opinions, John.
He's
Believe me,
horrified.
I have opinions.
I want to hear them. That's why you're here. That's why I called you and said, please
That's
come on
why
my
you
show.
are here. Yeah, you told me I was going to be the co-host, and then I got usurped by an actual woman.
Oh, I never said you were going to be the co-host.
Oh, that was probably, I just inferred.
John heard co-host.
He heard
you
what he
know.
wanted
Yeah,
to hear.
exactly.
He
John,
assumed-
guest on the show, take it over.
To be fair, you guys I considered you both my little co-hosts tonight.
Little co-host.
Well, you are indeed short, so.
I knew it. It was only a matter of time.
He's a wee lad.
You know what? I went to the doctor
You are a
recently.
wee baby.
I always thought that I was like 5'8" and a
Oh,
half.
gosh.
And so then I settled with 5'9". And then I went to the doctor recently, and it turns out I'm actually 5'10".
Hey.
Which I was like,
It's the eggs.
we're so back.
It's
We are
the eggs.
literally so back.
And it's the beating up furries.
You know what
Yeah.
else is funny? Speaking
Yeah.
of
Thank you,
short
Gaston.
guys. Speaking of short guys, with everything with Joseph Rosenbaum, who was a manlet who charged after.
He was what, 5'3"?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
did you guys
Literally-
see Jesse Kelly's tweet on that?
No.
The prosecution
Jesse stood
was
on him.
making the argument that he could not have actually been
Yes,
dangerous because
yeah.
he was so
He's
short.
like, he's so little. No one took him
It's
seriously.
so funny.
It's so good. Jesse Kelly said something about
What did Jesse say? Because people need to understand, for those who don't know, Jesse Kelly is another commentator, and he is 6'8". So
he is
he
literally
is a
the
big
most
human.
giant person I've ever met in my life.
Yes.
In my life.
Tell me, I want to know, because so the only reason, to be clear, like the only reason I take the piss out of you for being shorter than me is just because it gets under your skin and it makes me giggle.
Well, everyone has to have a handicap, and if mine is that I'm average height, oh well. And at
I
least
thought it would be the fact also too that you wear glasses, seeing that your eyes don't work properly.
Oh.
You know what's funny about that too? I thought that was like genetic. I never gave it too much thought. I thought that like, oh, my eye just got the bad lottery there. I found out like 8 months ago that the reason my eyes are messed up is because my mom, she has a neurological condition or some sort of autoimmune condition. They keep misdiagnosing it because it's so rare. But basically, there was a period of time where she was taking muscle relaxers before she was pregnant with me.
Ooh.
But the drugs were still like residually in her system. And so my eye muscles didn't develop properly.
Oh, no.
And so I found this out like 8 months ago. And I was like, you mean to tell me every eye appointment, you just kind of were sitting there like, and you never thought to tell me that like, this is because of you?
Is that fixable though?
I mean, probably.
I would say it's
they're not
because
that bad. I just need them to like read.
Big Pharma.
A lot of our
Sure.
generation
It's
is
not her
having
fault.
eye trouble because of screens.
Screens,
Yeah.
yeah. I used to have 2015 vision. Like my vision was better than 2020. And
Sarah's
since
coping. Our generation, yeah.
Since since I've been on, you know, phones and screens and stuff, I can tell it's declined. Okay, so Jesse said, I know this won't be popular today, but do spare a quick thought for Rosenbaum. No matter the circumstances, it's a tragedy to lose a child. And he included his mugshot with his height that says 5'3".
That was good.
Circled.
But Tucker's comment during his monologue the other night.
Tucker killed him again.
He died as he lived.
He double
going
died after that.
going after an unwelcoming.
Yeah.
Oh God, I this was such a bad. I found this meme. I wish we could bring it up, guys, but it might get us in trouble. I'm just going to read it to you anyway. But someone sent me this, and I absolutely died laughing. Let me find it real quick. It was about Rosenbaum, similar to what everyone was saying about chasing minors. And this, when I saw it, I was like, oh my goodness. Give me 1 second, fam. I have much shit on my phone. Basically, it says, and it's Christ, what's his name? The Skull Man. What's his name?
Skeletor?
Skeletor, there we go. Yeah, he goes...
I get called that a lot.
Oh, the skull. I can't think. Okay, it's Friday. Rosenbaum finally got a minor to blow his load on him, and it was to die for. Until we meet again. And then
Oh my God.
Nope, okay. I thought it was
That's
great.
amazing.
I saved it and then had to share it on the
really
internet.
good.
I was like, yep, okay.
That is disturbing and good all at the same time.
The memes about this have actually been so great.
Amazing.
They've been so funny and so horribly inappropriate that I'm just
Love it.
like, yes.
Love it.
The one that you showed, so Sarah just showed me one in when I was getting my makeup done. And basically, Candace Owens posted it, and it's a picture of Kyle wiping tears off of who is that
LeBron James.
Yeah, he's wiping like tears off
But
of
it's
LeBron's
like a picture
face.
of him from cleaning the graffiti. So like,
Oh my god,
that's so freaking good.
Remember when
love
LeBron
it.
James was pretending to be reading Malcolm X's autobiography? And then they asked him a question about it, and he gave like the most non-answer.
He's
they're like,
actually
so-
done that with a few books.
Yeah, because he never reads them.
His playoff routine is like he turns his phone off and he only reads books, but he doesn't actually read the book. He just has it in his locker.
Right, because he probably cannot.
Also,
read.
you can tell so easily with people who do that because they always pick like the most surface level, like Malcolm X autobiography, and it's like if you were really reading, I don't know how old the guy is, but it wouldn't have taken you that long to get to like Malcolm X's
I
autobiography.
think LeBron's like 38.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Is he really? Wow, he's old. Okay,
well, so
makes me feel better.
I mean, LeBron James too. Also, his commentary on this as well has been really irritating, and I've wanted to hit him on multiple occasions. Not that I condone violence, but I've been like, well, I really don't know why we let sports stars come out on stuff. To be completely fair,
Well, he's one of those.
Shut up and do the thing that you were paid to do.
Yeah, he's one of those people that we talked about before, who I'm not quite sure he even knows that Kyle killed white people.
Yeah.
I'm
in
sure he knows
self-defense.
nothing about the
I
case.
I think he probably still thinks that there were black people who were injured by him.
Because like he's done some good things for his community, like building schools, paying for colleges
Sure.
and whatnot. But then he gets out of his reach and he starts talking about shit he has no idea what he's talking about.
But this is always the way, though. I mean, even today, again, like when I was reading through all the, this is white supremacy tweets, there was this one from this woman called Cori Bush. I don't even know who this person is. I don't even know why
She's a representative.
Bush. Yeah, she's
I
in
was
Congress.
like, who are
Not
you?
related to Reggie Bush.
Okay. Well, anyway, she tweeted, the judge, the jury, the defendant, it's white supremacy in action. The system isn't built to hold white supremacists accountable. It's why black and brown folks are brutalized and put in cages while white supremacist murderers walk free. I'm hurt, I'm angry, I'm heartbroken. And it's like, stay in your lane.
You know how tired I was as I read that last line as I'm hungry, I'm angry, and I'm heartbroken? And I was like, oh, she's just hangry.
You're like, I need a burger.
Yeah.
She needs a burger. But seriously, this is how these people conceptualize the world. Imagine, on a serious note, right?
Do you really think that?
Yes, I think that
You think they really conceptualize it, or they're just playing a game?
No, I think some of them are definitely taking advantage, and they know that what they're saying is wrong and dishonest, but I definitely think some of them buy into it. And I was thinking about this earlier. And John, I think I want to hear your take on this, because I don't know whether or not I know that we actually line up in some ways because I think some of the opinions that I don't express publicly are the ones that you're like, yes, behind the scenes. And this perhaps is one.
Why did you shoot us both in the foot there?
I'm just saying. I'm not shooting you in the foot. They're very innocuous opinions, everybody. I'm not saying John thinks anything.
This is just like in Squid Game when the woman like hugged the fat guy and killed them both. Wow,
except neither of us are fat. I'm not chucking you over the edge of like a cliff thing.
I have to make the ironic, like, oh my God, pop culture.
But I was thinking about this earlier, right? When I was seeing all these things about white supremacy, white privilege, even Newsom said, this is just going to embolden white vigilantism, basically. And I was thinking about it, and my take, I guess, here is I don't care anymore if I get called a white supremacist, I get called, say that I have white privilege. I don't even care if people are saying, oh, this is just going to embolden conservative vigilantism. I actually don't care anymore because I'm at the point where I'm like, I know that Kyle Rittenhouse is not a white supremacist. Yeah. I know that Kyle Rittenhouse does not have white privilege. I don't even think that exists, to be completely honest with you. And I know for a fact that kid did not go out there to act like a vigilante. But is it so bad, and this is maybe where I'll get myself in trouble, is it so bad if the left thinks that there are, in fact, conservative vigilantes? Is it so bad if the left is aware of the fact that you can do whatever you want in society, but be aware of the fact that you've pissed us off so much that there are consequences for the shit that you do? And there are consequences for what you do and say, the way that you put things out into the world, the fact that you keep calling us white supremacists, the fact that you keep shitting on us again and again and again. We've tolerated it for so long. We've said nothing for so long. We've defended ourselves for so long. I don't care about defending myself anymore. I'm like, you want to call Kyle Rittenhouse and the entirety of the conservatives, people on the right, you want to call us white supremacists? Go right ahead. You want to call America a white supremacist country? Go the fuck ahead. I'm done defending it. I know it's not true. They know it's not true. And it doesn't change anything when we defend ourselves. They just keep pushing it again and again and again. Now in my view, it's time to go on the offensive and to be like, okay, cool. You want to call me a white supremacist? Well, I'm going to hit back.
You have to. And it makes their face melt, which is very satisfying in like the micro timeline. But it's also good for exactly what you're talking about, because so much of their rhetoric implies that they have power over us when they don't. I'll give you an example. Recently, I was doing like the same thing. I was at a pro-life demonstration at University of North Texas recently, and there was this huge counter protest of Antifa, like 300 people, I'm not even kidding, versus like our demonstration of like 12 people. And I had my big megaphone, and somebody yelled at me, "This guy is a Christian fascist." And I just said, what's wrong with Christian fascism? And the reason I said that was because I'm not going to let them get away with like, oh, these are these things that we've been taught are bad. I'm just going to say that's him, that's the bad. And it's like, explain to me why that's wrong. Like, debate me on that. Like, why is that wrong? Not that that's me, but like, and they were just, what? And they immediately just, what do you mean? Get this guy's face. And so I said into the megaphone, and this clip ended up going like kind of, viral on like Reddit and Twitter. People were like, that's John Doyle. So I said, go ahead, get my face. I have a YouTube channel with 300,000 subscribers. I am radicalizing the youth, and there's nothing you can do about it. So you better be nice, because when me and all my cool friends take power, and so then they were like, oh, he's inciting violence, he's like this bad guy. But like, that's the thing. It's like, they're going to call you it regardless. Yes. So it's better to like look them in the face and be like, yep, this is
Embrace
me.
it.
You should be afraid of this.
Well, even that, even just to be like, cool. If
Sydney,
you
I had one more little point I wanted to make.
Sorry, go on.
I mean, I know it's your show.
It's her show.
No, of course you go.
fine.
No, I bring you on for your opinions.
I'm right wing. I respect hierarchy. It's your show. But then again, women in positions of leadership is satanic. So
it's a hard one, John. You got to toss that up.
I know. I continue. But it's like, it's the same thing.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Because then what they're saying on like Reddit, for example, is, wow, I guess Doyle really let the mask slip, which is implying that like, I shouldn't have said that. And it's like, I had my megaphone. You've seen my megaphone. It's like 120 watts. This thing is a dinosaur.
You told me it's like the loudest megaphone.
I have
it is.
The funniest picture of John walking around in the parking lot outside of here, like you were yelling like, women shouldn't work or something like that.
It's true.
He was
beside the point.
He was just being like very Jonathan. And I took this picture of him because it was the funniest shit I've ever seen. He's kicking his little leg out. And every time I look at it, I just like cry laughing.
It is funny.
It's so funny.
But like, think about what that language is implying. Like, he let the mask slip. Obviously, I knew what I was doing. I was looking at them. I was like, here's who I am publicly. Look me up. I'm going to hurt you if I take power. Joking. The point being, though, that they can frame it as, oh, they let the mask slip, implies that our ideas are so wrong and fringe that if they ever get out, it was an accident, because we know they're so wrong. So like, even stuff like that is sneaky, which is why the best strategy rhetorically is not to concede meet or even debate these people, literally look them in the face. Everything you say about me is true, and you should be afraid of that. Even if you know it's not, it makes them afraid. Gavin McInnes had a great anecdote for this because, you know, he was getting protested before one of his talks back in like 2017, I think. And he got up there, and the first line he delivered in his speech was something to the effect of, there are 3 problems in America today: the woman, the Jew, and the homosexual. And everybody who was protesting him just went like, and he describes it like it's that moment that it became real to them, because these people don't actually believe that you're like a white supremacist or you're a racist. But if you like say that, they're like, oh shit, it's not a game. Like, this is actually a thing. And it disarms them. And then they kind of have to think, okay, now what?
Well, there have to be consequences for what they say. And I think this is a thing. And not to interrupt you, Sarah, because I really do want to hear what you guys have to say on this. You keep saying that. But no, I had just had this like realization, this light bulb moment. And I knew that we would line up on this, John, because you say these things, or, you know, you allude to these things. And often I'm sitting there like, yeah. And I think for me, and I think Elijah talks about this a lot, where he's like, Sydney's always finding her feet with some of her views. And it's not so much that I'm finding my feet as I'm becoming more confident in expressing these things. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that's because I'm becoming more radical or if it's just because I'm giving less fucks. I don't know which one it is, but
I think they're the same.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that because I'm kind of in the same boat as well.
Yeah, it's like, you know what? Yeah, cool. You want to call us all white? Again, it's this white supremacy thing. I'm like, fucking A, cool, great. I don't give a shit because I don't care. I know I'm not a white supremacist. I know I'm a right-wing supremacist, and there's a big difference there. Yeah. And I know I definitely and I will happily admit this, I don't give a shit what you look like. I've said this on the show. I don't give a fuck. I don't care if you're gay or straight or whatever, as long as you're a normal human being and it's not affecting me and I don't have to pay for it. I don't give a shit. But I'm a right-wing supremacist. I legitimately think that people on the right, or at least people who are center-right and beyond, are inherently better than people on the left. I firmly believe that. And I know, and it's sad because some of my followers, and I love my community so much. I know some of them are left-wing, and they're like, I don't agree with you on everything, but I agree with you on some stuff. And I think that's wonderful. But, you know, these people who are so far to the left, I inherently believe that us on the right are better. I really do, because I'm like, hey, we're not trying to rip children's, you know, genitalia off. We're not trying to inject you with random shit. We're not trying to invert the world into this bizarre, I don't know, mashup of all these weird ideologies that make no sense in practical life. Yeah. We're not doing any of that. We're just like, hey, leave me the fuck alone. Let me own my guns. Let me marry who the fuck I want. Let me do what I want to do out in the wilderness. Fuck you, go away.
Yeah, I feel like...
So call me a white supremacist. I don't give a shit.
I'm a right supremacist. Be very careful with that. I'm a right supremacist.
Right supremacist. I do feel like, you know, but they've pushed you here. Right?
For sure.
It's because they're constantly saying the same thing. And if you've ever been in an abusive relationship, whether it be mental or physical or whatever, it's kind of the same thing there too, right? Like someone can only tell someone so many times, I'm going to kill myself because of what you did. And when they don't do it, you're like, all right, I just don't like, it doesn't matter to me anymore. You can tell me that and I'm not even going to flinch, right? I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to do anything because I'm sick of hearing the same shit from you with nothing to back it up. I think it's the same thing here. And I do want to circle back to, not that I'm Jen Psaki, but I do want to circle back to something that you said before about them talking about vigilantism, because I do think that is a really important distinction that they're trying to make stupidly, but they're trying to make it because these are the same people who want to defund the police. These are the same people who literally had the police stand down while fucking cities burned.
Not only that, right? They LARP as the vigilantes.
Yes.
They think that they are Dumbledore's army. They think that they're like the resistance.
But the moment that someone says, you know what, not in my community, I'm going to take a stand because I care about my community. I care about the people. I care about the businesses. I care about people's livelihoods. I'm going to take a stand and they want to make that a bad thing, try it.
Yeah,
go ahead. Keep characterizing that as bad.
There was one
No
post,
one believes it.
Yeah, and they're like, this is going to let right-wingers know they can come out and defend property.
Yeah,
whenever
like,
there's
you're fucking
violence
right,
and riots.
you can.
Like,
you will find out.
Duh.
Yeah. This is what I'm saying.
Having fucked around, you will find out.
This is what I'm saying, though. You know
Bingo.
what, Newsom? You want to say that this is going to encourage vigilantism? Maybe that ain't such a bad thing, bro.
You guys
for
aren't
you to
doing
be
anything.
Scared, for you to be worried about the fact that conservatives, for once in their bloody lives, are going to turn up and be like, "Yeah, we're not hacking this shit anymore." Maybe it's not such a bad thing that you know that you have stepped on people one too many times, and now they're like, I'm not doing this anymore.
That's a really good
I'm coming to play.
And you know what else? Yeah, because I think we have finally gotten to a point where we're saying, okay, I'll play your game.
Yeah.
You ready? I'll play.
Yeah.
You've been playing the game for a long time, and we have sat back and for way too long and said, well, we're the good guys, so we don't want to stoop to their level.
Yeah, the
we
moral
don't-
high
we
ground
don't-
thing,
yeah,
it's done.
We
It's
don't
over.
want to fight fire with fire because that's too low for us. We'll go the high route. And where has that gotten us?
Nowhere.
Where's that gotten
Exactly.
us? Nowhere. And as I break Elijah's computer, because I'm so upset, I just want to say,
It's good that you're upset. This is an IQ test. Kyle Rittenhouse is an IQ
Yes,
test for
yes.
conservatives. Anyone who claims to be right wing, who is not passionate, who is not indignant about this case, should never have any sort of influence in right wing media or public office. Again, like people like David French, for example, who are taking a neutral at best ground, they should not have any credibility left. This is the ultimate thing.
His articles, just by the way, have been insipid lately.
David French, more like David Idiot. That's what I'm saying.
He was, I mean, yeah, I don't even want to get into it because it's just going to make me even angrier.
Think about it. We can concede every issue and lose every piece of ground.
We do
literally
lose
speaking,
every piece
to the
of
point
ground.
where there is no ground left, literally, and these people are marching towards you with guns to kill you. If you're not even willing to conserve that, to conserve even your own life or someone's right to do that, go away.
Seriously.
Delete yourself.
Yes.
You should not have any position of relevance in right wing media. It is an what's the word I'm looking for? Abomination. That's the word. It's an abomination that this guy has any sense of credibility. Any sense of credibility. It's getting your laugh.
Can we go wide shot? Can we wide shot?
Stealth.
No, we didn't have
Stealth
time.
100.
We didn't have time.
He
Sorry,
was trying to be
JB.
sneaky.
Mr. Bond came in.
David French is the same guy, by the way, who said that Drag Queen Story Hour is just another blessing of liberty. It's
Dude,
Washington
David
did not
is-
cross the Delaware so that your child could have to be have stories read to them by drag queens with
Jonathan.
your tax
David
dollars.
French is the biggest, greatest example of Trump derangement syndrome I have ever seen in my life.
Sara Gonzales put David French in a headlock at Harry's one night in D.C. It's true. I was there. I saw it. It's true.
Sara Gonzales is me.
I know.
He's
so
referring to you in
we
the
saw
third
that.
person.
We saw you do that.
I didn't
that
realize
one time
that you guys saw
that
me.
you beat him up. Wow.
No.
David French
It
tried
wasn't
to.
hard.
Can we just lie about people?
Yeah, you.
Of
Yeah, I mean,
course.
I
Well,
like what
them's
people
the
need
rules
to know.
now,
That
John.
Sarah's
It's not
a black
defamation.
belt.
Yeah.
Them's the rules.
And
David
she
French
took
tried
out
to
David
kiss my
French one.
roommate at CPAC.
Oof.
You mean Elijah?
That's rough.
No, Aldo, who's a very handsome
Oh,
guy,
okay.
so I can't exactly fault David for that. But yeah, David French tried
Aldo
to
is
accost
a
him.
handsome boy. He is indeed. So that makes sense why David French might be trying to smooch him.
Well, and because David French is
Yes.
Use your
Yes.
words. No, dude, honestly, this whole thing, it's so true. I have no problem with multiple opinions existing in the one space. Obviously, that's what makes life interesting. That's how all of us are friends and genuinely friends. Because, I mean, people don't realize, we all legitimately hang out outside of work. This is not, it's not pretend. We are actually friends.
I didn't
And
get invited to the Halloween party, though.
She did. Stop it.
You just didn't.
You just didn't
didn't show up.
because you were like, I need to go to see Angels and Airwaves, and I was like, they've.
Yes.
I didn't
Yes.
either, John, so don't feel too bad about
Oh my
it.
God, you were all invited. I hate
Stand
all
by
of
that.
you.
Without
Whatever.
giving me an address.
Whatever.
Well, we had
okay.
more fun without you guys there, so
Okay,
it's fine.
so use your buttholes. Yeah. Okay. So, so it's fine to have, I have no problem with a difference of opinion because I think that's how you strengthen your own arguments or change your own ideas. You defeat bad ideas with better ideas, or you defeat weak ideas with better ideas. I believe that wholeheartedly. But there are some people in the conservative space, and maybe not the conservative space, maybe that's not the right terminology, but certainly the right wing space that weaken us because they are constantly giving ground to the people who vehemently hate you. This is why if you play by the rules of the other team, you will always lose.
Yeah.
Always,
Well,
100%.
if you play by the rules that the other team has set for you,
Yes.
Yeah.
because I mean they
Don't
obviously
operate
have
within
other
the box.
Yeah.
Operate in whichever capacity you need to outside of the box. That's what I've learned with everything is don't do what other people expect you to do. Do what you want to do. Create your own reality and operate inside of that. Because seriously, fuck this shit.
Well, and
Like-
make them meet their own standards.
Exactly. Well,
they're
no, they never.
they're
They never
unlivable
will.
standards.
They never will. Because think about it too, and because I want to go into supers after this. Think about it too, how for the all of 2020, this whole defund the police thing, they're like, we can police our own communities. And then a kid turns up to police his own community because, guys, side note, and a lot of people don't know this, his dad works in Kenosha. Right. His family works, and I'm pretty sure his dad
crossed state lines.
I'm pretty sure his dad lives in Kenosha, in fact.
Yes, he does.
So this kid turned up to legitimately protect, Kyle turned up to legitimately protect his own community, his father's community, like the left had been saying for the entirety of bloody 2020. We'll do it ourselves. We don't need police. We can police our own communities. He turned up to do that. People fucked around, they found out, and then they were like, oh, just kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't actually do that. These people are the biggest hypocrites. And not only that, it's not that they're hypocrites. They're the biggest dumbasses to ever walk the planet, and it makes me sick that I share a society with them.
Yeah, and that's such a significant difference to understand, Sydney Athin, because these are not like just mere differences.
What did you just say? Sydney Athin?
Yeah, it makes equally like
What is that?
it makes equally little sense because my name is not Jonathan. You plugged on a thin. Therefore, like you said, we're fighting fire with fire. It's such an important point, Sydney Athin, because these are not mere differences of opinion. We're not talking about
the autism.
Oh,
I think it's cute.
do you want me to explain why autism is necessary to take the country back? I will.
I actually believe you.
I'm going to put a pin in that. I'm putting a pin on that.
With
That's
you.
my next take. It's true. But it's not just a mere difference of opinion. We're like, this issue should be handled by the states. It should be handled by
Hey,
the
John, I
federal
just
government.
realized you're between two women right now. It's your dream.
No, it's not. It's my nightmare, actually. As I was saying, I'm trying to have like an important political
No,
take.
I'm sorry. I won't interrupt you. Go on.
Enjoy your
I'm
dreams.
listening. I'm listening.
I miss Sean Connery. So it's not like just these mere differences of opinion. These are like the most consequential issues when like deciding like what are we doing as a country. It's not like, taxes should be higher, they should be lower. This is like, what does it mean to be a man or a woman? What does it mean to like be alive? Where do we define life versus, not being alive? These are like the issues. Do we even want to have borders or sovereignty? And there's just no way to like come together after that. And so even like what you're saying, like, we can just talk it out, agree to disagree. No, we can't. These people don't want to agree to disagree with you. As far as the autism thing goes, this is unironically true. Think about it. What are two criteria of autism? Look at the bullet points. Inexplicably passionate fixations and a deviation from the perceived social norm. Think about it. If you want to be effective and take the country back, there's never going to be this mass awakening. We'd like to think like that's going to happen, but that's never what happens. It's always a group of hyper-motivated activist people who are like, tens of thousands strong. They are always the ones who take the cultures and shift them in a certain way. People in the stands are going to watch that and then side with whoever wins, but the masses are never going to be the ones who make change. It's always going to be these smaller groups. Mm-hmm. Those smaller groups would be the autists, so to speak. People who you can't exactly explain why, but they just have this passion and this fixation on like what they love, which is their country. Mm-hmm. Same thing with their deviation from the perceived social norm. You have to reject the current norms of society because they are so backwards and so upside down. You literally have to be outside of that in order to change it and like pull it in that direction. So that's why, Elijah debuted this joke. John Doyle has autism. And I kind of doubled down on it because it's like, yeah, so what? It's my superpower because it's necessary. You have to be fixated and you have to be driven and you have to understand that what's happening now is not normal. I don't trust anybody who isn't kind of autistic at this point. If they don't see something wrong with these social cues and these social trends, I don't trust them.
Gotta have a touch of the tism, John, right?
You do. Everybody who's successful is at least a little bit autistic.
Touch of the tism.
At least a little bit.
I don't disagree with
I get
you.
emails too.
I don't disagree with the premise.
I get emails because that's like what autism
That
is.
John's autistic?
People think that...
Well, I know that. I don't need to agree. I already know.
People think that autism is synonymous with retardation. It's not. The right is autistic, the left is retarded. Very important distinction to make, but it's true. I get emails from guys all the time.
That's the most insightful thing anyone has said this episode.
It's true. That's
great.
why.
Don't inflate him now. He's not going to shut up.
That's why I get emails from guys all the time saying like, hey, I think I might be autistic. And it's like, you're not autistic just because you feel as though you can't connect with the world around you anymore. 30 years ago, a guy who thought that I just have trouble connecting with people around me, maybe that's like a legitimate thing. But now I wouldn't trust any man who doesn't feel as at least a little bit like they can't connect with the world around them, which is like, a symptom of autism or whatever. So that's why we weaponize it and we wear the puzzle piece proudly.
John, can you please start like a helpline for dudes who think they're autistic?
That's literally what my inbox is. People are like,
John, I think I'm autistic.
John,
what do I do?
Where's the content? Meanwhile, I'm answering all these emails. Help, I think I'm autistic. And I'm like,
Priorities.
Can I pray this away?
Too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
All right, children, on that note, let's swap into the supers because you guys have got a lot to say tonight and I'm going to try to get to all of them. And for those of you, Martin number one, who wants us to do a 3-hour episode, it's not happening. I'm sorry, darling. Jurish AF says, I had tears of joy when the verdict of Kyle was announced. I know Elijah is in touch with them and I want to give Kyle a lower. I don't know what that means, Drew.
A lower.
How can I contact you? Oh, okay, cool.
Nice try, Fed.
I email Elijah. That's the best thing I can say to do for that. Martin number one says, you guys don't know how happy this makes me. I took the day off of work after I found out. I am buying an AR-15 to celebrate and codenaming it Kyle Killshot. Please let this be a 3-hour show to celebrate. No 3-hour shows, but congratulations on the new firearm.
Gun Owners of America is like sending him an AR-15.
Love it.
If you're subscribed to the NRA, by the way, unsubscribe and redirect that money to the Gun Owners of America.
Yeah.
They're like the actual like gun advocacy group
Yeah.
in DC.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Good plug.
The Mystery of Godliness says, amazing, slightly offensive episode today. By the way, can you get Alex J on your shows via video link if you titled the segment guest? Anonymous, then just have his face cut out of you and let him talk as a segment.
I mean Alex Jones?
I guess so.
Just had him.
No, we're going to have him on live. Why would I have him Skype in? I'm bringing the man back.
Yeah, how can
Make
he,
sure he's anonymous because you wouldn't want to show him live. Oh, we already did that.
How can he do
Weird.
like a ritualistic tribute to Bill Gates and Pfizer if he's not in studio?
Yeah, exactly. The Cat of Canal says tomorrow is going to be a freedom march at the Salem Capitol building in Oregon from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. If you want to take a stand for our constitutional rights, everyone is welcomed to come join us. So guys, again, this is at the Salem Capitol building in Oregon from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. If you're in the area, I guess check it out or at least look it up online if you want more information.
I got one from the Blaze chat for John. They want to know if you're a simp for Tom DeLonge.
Oh, 100%. I love that man.
For the music or for his alien
Blink
work?
182 though is like has always been
For his
phenomenal.
music.
Are they still?
No, and don't get me started. There's a whole thing, and it's because Tom's a drama queen. We love him, but he's a drama queen.
Okay.
It's just I don't know what it is, and it's like the most easy music to learn, which I think is part of it. Like you're a young guy, you want to learn how to play guitar because you're angsty. It's all power chords, but he really is a talented
Which says
songwriter.
something.
And because I'm 21, I think I especially resonate with that kind of music. And when I'm 23, no one likes you when you're 23,
Yeah.
of course. But when I'm older, I'll probably stop listening to it as much. But ever since,
you really won't.
okay, well, I hope
It
not.
doesn't go like that.
I hope not. Ever since I graduated high school,
You know what, John? I think you would have liked growing up when I was a teenager because that's when all the music was genuinely really
I feel
good.
like I was just born in the wrong generation.
You were born in like the worst generation. Millennials
True.
suck, but Gen Z sucks more. I'm just gonna put it out
But
there.
the worst generation was the hippies who are responsible for all this bullshit.
They're not people, they're hippies.
Well, yeah,
True.
that's true. But they did make good acid, but everything else they ruined.
Of course you would say that. Metal Horror Mummy says, I sent you a message on Telegram, Sid. Have a good night all. Will you two have a good night? And I would definitely check it out, but I hate Telegram already, so I'm just going to say that. Our Bracewell says, use this to help Elijah Crowder McGinnis Hernandez. All of you deserve credit in this verdict.
Wow.
Hold an event, sell tickets, give all the proceeds to the family to sue the ish out of everyone that defamed this man. We got a victory today, but don't get complacent. Keep pushing and fighting. The fight is not over. Can't help but agree. All of our friends that were on the ground helped tremendously in this.
That's what I think is really important in this particular case because had we not had that video footage that we had from Richie McGinnis, Elijah was there, Drew Hernandez, all of these people, all of these actual journalists who were on the ground, this could have gone a completely different direction.
100%.
I mean, You Are Here might be doing a Riot Squad special. I don't know. That's just word on the street.
His life, like for sure would have been over with all of the pressure, all of societal
Without the
pressure,
footage, he
plus
would have
no
been screwed.
footage.
That is such a good point too. Like whether it's a gubernatorial victory in Virginia or this, it's like we can't let up the gas.
Just side note
No.
though, Youngkin looks like he's going to turn out to just be like
sucks.
another GOP.
Oh,
sack of
100%.
shit.
And that's what I said, and which is why I didn't understand why everybody was soy facing over this guy. And
Well,
it's
listen,
like,
it was still a good win against Terry McAuliffe, right? Like,
Sure.
you obviously still want a Youngkin instead of a McAuliffe, especially in the school system. That doesn't make him
I agree.
the
Well,
best.
But everybody was like, this guy's base, he doesn't like
Yeah,
CRT.
no.
Wow, this is like the guy who's going to carry the
I don't-
torch.
I don't
Just because he
think
doesn't
that-
want white kids to think
Nah.
that they're racist, like he's the greatest thing since.
I don't think that was the primary perspective that people had. I just think people were excited that someone in the GOP actually won in Virginia when for the last 20 years they haven't won an election. Oh, no, that's a lie. For the last 12 years they haven't won there. So I think that's
Conservatives
what
are so starved for like a
for like a
We're
good
so-
face.
we're
Like it,
so-
yeah.
We're like, oh my God,
We're starving.
We might
That's
have
why
someone that's good.
I would never suggest this because, of course, I believe everything that the government tells me. But since we know that they have the ability to fortify elections, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't fortify this one simply so that right-leaning people maintained a degree of faith in the system.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
like, we got to win.
Yeah.
Next
Oh.
time something happens,
We
it'll be
gotta win.
totally legit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's really sad. I don't want to think about that. That makes me depressed. Martin number 1 says, I hope Joy Reid and Don Lamont self-delete from the rage. I effing hate them so much. Justice was, dude, Martin is legitimately like,
Wow.
so great. I love the stuff he says. Justice was served. Kyle Rittenhouse is innocent. Yes, he is. Mr. Wolfgram says, Kyle is going to need some therapy after this, but I'm so glad he got a not guilty verdict. We totally agree. Johnny Jim says, John really be pushing delayed gratification for the boys. The video will come all in good time, fellas. Love you all.
This
Your
is
followers are so
literally the
cute,
case.
man.
They are. They're very fine people. I will say that. And
Except the ones that, you know what?
There's a few who make a few questionable comments towards Sydney.
oh,
I was going to say,
hey.
the audience of John's that's so mean to me, I just read it and I'm like, But why?
They're fun though because they're very sensitive.
You all are also very fine people, but I will never betray anybody who pledges allegiance to me.
That's okay. We get it. You got to
They're the
stand
boys.
with your cult.
They're
We
the
get
boys.
it.
What's wrong with leadership? Women don't get it. They just don't get it.
Women don't get it. I'm Jonathan Doyle, all 21 years of my life.
Yeah.
And yet I get it. Isn't it amazing?
Have you made that a shirt yet, John? Women don't get it?
No, but I will.
Now
You can have royalties.
There it is right now.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's
Actually,
the
I'll
thing.
give you all the profits if we can peep your nips.
Well, you're going to have to donate to the fund.
Okay. What is the cap, though? At what point do we get to see
We
the
don't
nips?
know, but we
I'm going to
we-
count it over the break. I'm actually going to go back and see what the
Okay,
numbers
because
are.
I have to talk to you about a plan that I have for the pepperonis. I'll let you know. Dan Lindbergh said, Dan Lindbergh says, thanks, jury, for using your common sense. PTSD is hard to deal with. Yes, it is. And yes, good for the jury. Dragon F says, always love the show. Carl's verdict was inevitable. I also suggest watching Attack on Titan. That show unironically radicalized me. I fucking love Attack on Titan.
Do you remember when the whole Kavanaugh thing was happening and Christine Blasey Ford, her entire shtick was, I'm just going to talk like this the whole time
Yeah.
because I'm so traumatized. And they were literally like, oh my gosh, she's a survivor. Kyle has an actual PTSD breakdown on like 2 separate occasions.
And
they're
everyone
like,
shits on him.
he's
Yeah.
faking. LeBron's like, sorry, white boy with your crocodile tears.
Oh, you went and ate some lemon heads before you came on the stand.
I wish I could do that
Fuck
impression,
you.
but I am not a woman of color, so I can't. I just have to say, hi, I'm LeBron James. You can be like,
no, see,
hey, I'm
John.
LeBron James.
No, fuck
Do
that.
the head
Jonathan,
swivel too.
if you want to imitate somebody who happens to not be white, you go right on ahead because we don't play this race game.
Yeah, John.
We don't
Okay.
play the race game.
Who am I? Give me your money or I'll shoot your baby.
George Floyd.
Okay,
Saint Floyd.
Wait, let me do another one.
Okay.
I'm going to do a bunch of fentanyl.
That was hard. George Floyd.
Also George Floyd.
Okay, wait. Let me do another.
You got to do the voice too.
I don't know what he sounds like.
John doesn't do voices. He just does the line.
Okay. No, did you see that supercut of you basically being like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna talk about you? I don't know. You were like, roll.
I said I'm going to be super, super racist. And then I was talking about how we were going to do a minstrel show in blackface after everybody.
Someone
Because everybody looked
supercut
orange.
These things together. I
Blackface-
legitimately cried laughing watching that. just by the way.
Blackface is actually less offensive than drag.
Dude.
Which is, but nobody talks about that, and not to simp for like women's rights or whatever, but like there is seriously something.
No
I
one
just-
simp for
we know-
women's
we
rights
know
over
you
here.
would
I
simp for
love
that,
women.
John.
I
We know
cherish
you.
women. And because of that, and I can't speak to this as well as you guys can, but being a woman actually means something.
Yeah.
And to put on a wig and heels and makeup and pretend like this is like this caricature of what a woman is, that is less offensive than putting on blackface. Because being black, cool, that's one thing. But like being a woman means you can create life. Like that is an actual identity. And that's something that is significant. And nobody brings that up, that the fact that these men who are perverted are like trying to embody that because they think it's like funny. They're like fetishizing it. It's disgusting.
So real talk, I used to really enjoy RuPaul's Drag Race when I was a lot younger, and my mom and I would sit there and watch it because I enjoy watching performers. I love the people who can sing, and I love people who can dance because I am incapable of dancing. And I like people who are just generally creative like that because it's like cathartic watching people who can do these things that I cannot do. And I always really enjoyed it. And also when they could make themselves so beautiful, like genuinely beautiful, that I'd be like, damn, like that's a man, that's crazy. But then what I realized watching it over the seasons was it's actually really derogatory towards women, calling us, I feel fishy. Like, I'm sorry, excuse me, you associate women with smelling fishy? Like, I'm sorry, like it's just, all of it just became too much. And I got to a point where I was like, I hate this.
Yeah.
Didn't
This is
RuPaul's,
just so disgusting to
didn't
me and
RuPaul's
offensive.
Drag Race had like a woman who was dressing in drag?
Yes.
Which
It's
like,
a transgender woman, a transgender man. So a biological woman
yeah.
being a man,
I'm already
dressing up
confused.
as women.
I need a flow chart.
This is the best argument against that entire coalition too. Is I guess the cousin of an argument that was made by a philosopher in an essay that was written in, I believe, 1974, and it was talking about like, if I were a bat. And he goes on about like, if I were a bat, blah, blah, blah. And he concluded by saying, if I were a bat, or no, he says, I don't know what I would do if I were a bat because I can't conceptualize it because I'm not a bat.
Yes.
It's the same thing. You don't know what it means to be a woman because you're not a woman. It is literally that simple. You can look at it and be like, oh, let's see, she has makeup and a wig. And you can like try to embody this like perverted caricature of that. But being a woman means something. And being a man means something. And everything has become so androgynous because we've tried to strip those identities away that now people can get away with doing things like that.
Yeah. Thank you for your input, God. Didgeridoo Nationalism says, John, stop coping over the events of 6/27 and claiming its demonic influence and upload already. Stop with the plan trusters cope. It's cringe.
You literally don't even know what you're talking about.
Crash Mondo says, I'm just sitting here sipping on whiskey and eating popcorn, watching the leftists lose their minds.
Yeah.
Well, that will be all of us later. Donut comply. That's clever. John, I'll be at the Medical Freedom Rally in Lansing tomorrow. Can I find you and get a picture with you? It would be very epic.
I'm not going to make it.
He's not going to make
unfortunately, it didn't work out, which I'm very sorry about. But I'll be home for. Should I dox myself? No. Next time, big guy, we'll figure something out.
Oh, okay. Well, that's nice. Ben, Son of Thunder, says, thanks, guys, for the great work supporting Kyle and the Truth. I'm going to buy an ice cream to celebrate. You earned that ice cream, Ben.
That is so wholesome.
Good job, Benjamin. You go get an ice cream.
Son of Thunder.
Yeah, we don't have Elijah here. We don't have to fat shame today.
That is so
exactly.
wholesome.
No one has to be horrible.
Eat as much ice cream as you want, buddy.
Yeah, you get that ice cream.
Well, I mean...
Honestly, it's cathartic watching other people. Last night Elijah gets this big thing of pecan pie because I'm on this really specific diet at the moment trying to fix this autoimmune condition, and I can't have 99% of foods. It sucks. But it got put in the middle of the table, this pie, and I looked at him and I was like, and it just sat there for 5 minutes, and I was like, eat the fucking pie. And Elijah was like, why? I'm like, because I can't, and if you don't, I'll scream at you. And he was like, okay, and he just starts shoveling it into his mouth, and I'm like, yes,
someone needs to, Elijah going to the gym has created a whole new host of problems where now when I wake up, I see pictures of him and he gets out of the shower and he sends me, dude, look at the progress I'm making, dude. No, literally, he calls it, dude, Super Saiyan mode. And he's naked and he's doing a 5 out of 10 job covering himself up.
And he'll just do these ones where he's like, yeah,
I'm Super Saiyan.
Yeah. And I'm like, we can't see, honey. You're wearing a long
My
sleeve
favorite
jumper.
part
I'm proud of him.
about hanging out with
too,
actually, I can't tell this story.
I'm proud of him.
Okay, yeah.
I saw him in a short sleeve shirt the other day, yesterday.
No, he's looking
and I was
bigger.
walking towards him. I was like, oh my God, look at your arms in those shirt. In that shirt, you look amazing.
Yeah, he does. He definitely is lost weight.
Yeah.
The Telegram should be
really
ready for Elijah thirst traps. That's coming.
What's important about male friendships. Aldo and I were always going to the gym and we were always bullying Elijah because Elijah, he didn't like that his neck fat was kind of hanging down.
Mm-hmm.
So Aldo and I recognized this.
You did it.
Ran a computation and we started calling him neck fat. And then he didn't like that. Now he's going to the gym and now he beats us up. And so
now he looks great.
Yeah, we're making Elijah.
Now he looks good.
Yeah. We're making him into a Chad.
Great job, Elijah.
Ray Vag, I'm Repzed, says, so glad Kyle is now free. Hot damn, what a ride. Please donate this to him and his family. Love you guys. Thank you for being alive at times like this. Your light is so needed. God bless. Well, if we can find a way to pass it on, we absolutely 100% will. I think he has a GoFundMe now.
So yeah, I read the GoFundMe statement that they put out because they obviously messed this up from the beginning.
We can pass that on.
But they've said now if they start a fund for him, it will be able to go through.
Oh, how kind of them.
Yeah, they're so nice.
Chris Young says, considering how angels are described in the Bible, I would not be surprised if God looks like the spaghetti monster from outer space. Yes. Do you mean our God? Our God in the control room? Because I can tell you now, he does look like a spaghetti monster from outer space. John's like, God, our,
voice of God.
God, you say anything whenever you want.
One of the producers?
God, no, one of our ghosts in the control
room. You are
room.
disrespecting the Lord right now.
I'm not. Jesus Christ looks exactly like me.
You were a religious man.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ is a white guy with a beard.
All right, God is speaking. Good.
I'm a little G.
He's got a great voice.
G.
Doesn't he?
It's wonderful.
Look at even he is denouncing the heretics in the room.
Blackbird sent us $10 dues. Thank you very much. Tom Glisson says, I love you guys. Been watching from the start of the show, and I've been an SOB for a year. Can't get enough of Elijah, Sydney, and Sav. Well, Tim, we are very, very happy to have you. Jordan S says, today is my birthday. Can I get a happy from Sydney? Also, yay, Kyle. Happy birthday, Jordan. I hope you have a fantastic day and get lots of nice things and have some nice cake because I can't eat it, so you better have 2
What
pieces.
a great present he got, too. You can still defend yourself. Happy birthday.
Congratulations. Yes. Buy an AR-15.
Sydney, you should just have these people send you videos of them eating cake now so you can watch it and be like, yes.
Yeah, exactly. I'd be like, yeah, very
it's a
good.
fetish now.
That's creepy. Young Fei Cheng says, oh, hi, day. It's Friday. I hope Elijah has a safe trip. Have a good weekend, guys. And hello, Mr. Doyle.
Hi.
Mr. Doyle.
Savage Fist says, God bless Kyle. This should never have gone to trial. You showed that American spirit is not dead. To Elijah, thank you for your no-holds-barred coverage and support of the Rittenhouse family. What a wonderful day. Yes, we totally agree, and we can pass that on to Elijah. David Sausage says, I cried when Kyle walked free. Anyone Rittenhouse, cry in the name of freedom. 4 doors, more whores is a free man.
Yes.
True.
4 doors, more whores.
God, I hope he goes on TikTok tonight.
I do too. I died when I heard that name.
Tatiana says, yay, all my prayers for Kyle and his fam were answered. God is so, so good. Me and my husband are going out to dinner. God bless you guys. I love that everyone's so invested in this that they're like celebrating, like buying ice cream.
This is a
going
win.
to dinner. Like, I love it.
Popping champagne.
I think it's really sweet. Dark Gift Comics presents Help Build Culture and Fight Woke Propaganda, back the graphic novel Hunting Alice, and sign up for the upcoming Lightbringer Genesis Volume 1, both on Indiegogo. Okay. Vika says, there is still hope. So glad Kyle was freed. We are very glad too. Long Don John says the message for anyone attending today's Melbourne protest, be aware there's a student counter protest too. Do not engage with them. Do not retaliate against them. Be peaceful. Don't come today if you're looking for a fight. I can't agree more. It just gets vilified by the media and it makes you all look bad. But definitely go and turn out to Melbourne's protest if you want to. It's always worth doing so because Melbourne is jacked. Void Hunter says, just want to say thank you for being a small light in this insane world. Really helps me get through each day. Well, we're glad to have you here. Soulman says, I am truly grateful for your show. We need more people like Sydney, Elijah, Brandon, and your guests. Kyle Rittenhouse verdict of not guilty proves that self-defense was also on trial. Thank God. Very true. Very, very true. Modest Mills says, I shed tears for Kyle today. Praise the Lord. Rogue Nomad says, for the Help Kyle Sue Their Asses Fund. Love y'all. Yeah, I really hope he sues the shit out of these people. Aaron Redacted says, leftists today. True. Elizabeth Harrison's biblical argument for storing up food and water? That's a you question, not a me question.
Yes.
Affirmative. Brian Schultz says, hello, ladies. Happy Friday. And God bless Kyle Rittenhouse and his family. Have a great weekend, everyone. Back at you, Brian.
You too, Brian.
You have a wonderful time. Crypto Steb says, popular but dumb take around here in NorCal is that holding or having a visible gun is the same thing as having said gun pointed at someone for the sake of provocation. It's really hard living around such unstable geniuses. Maybe you should move. And actually, the provocation thing is why... for a lot of people who don't know this, but the provocation thing you're talking about is actually why, in this case of Kyle Rittenhouse, they clung so hard to the gun charge, to the misdemeanor gun charge, because if they could argue that him having a gun illegally, they could argue that that's a provocation, and that led to all the events that followed. So, fun fact. Rick Kinnison says, very thankful for this verdict. Have been praying unceasingly for Kyle, his family, the jurists, their families, and the judge and attorneys on both sides. So it's very lovely of you. Blue Canon sent us $10 dues. Thank you very much. The Sanity Revolt says, John, can you please make sticker in the new merch? Just got a classic USA made pickup truck and need to make it epic.
Yeah, we are going to have stickers. We're also going to do basically like a modern leaflet campaign. We have a bunch of stickers with QR codes that are going to redirect us to some of the more important videos that we have on the channel. We're going to start doing billboards too with like a...
No way.
I'm not kidding. No, because we want to try to get the boys into shape. And a lot of the boys are addicted to pornography, and it's a huge problem. And so I want to start buying billboards that have a picture of the Coomer on it, which is a meme. I'm not sure if you've seen, but it's like what the average pornography watcher looks like, with like a redirect link to like a domain that I've bought to like make people watch that video. And that would make like local news like, yeah, things are happening behind the scenes, but because I don't put content on youtube.com, people think I'm just like getting peer pressured by Elijah Schaefer like 24 hours a day, which is not true.
Is that not a thing?
It's like 2 hours a day, on average.
Not 24, that's too much.
No.
Exactly.
He doesn't have that much. He's not awake that much.
No, he's not. Well, because he's up until 3 a.m. watching TikToks.
Yeah, he is. He's a bad boy. Nat D says, to Sydney, I'm agnostic myself, but psychologist Carl Jung? Who is that? Did I pronounce that correctly?
Carl Jung.
Jung? Okay. Along with Buddhism and Eastern philosophy has helped me keep my sanity after 2020. Cheers. Well, glad to have another agnostic atheist in the house because it gets a bit lonely. Mike Rodick says...
If you think that's an uncomfortable environment.
Oh, God.
So happy that the jurors got this one right. Hashtag Kyle Smittenhouse. Yeah, I'm happy too. Savage says, as a vet, I carry a gun every day, not just to protect myself, but to lay down my life for others. The battle is won, but not the war on R2A. Totally agree.
What a hero.
Ostimus Prime says, just wanted to say that I am the official HOC member as of this month. John, if you haven't read Weapons of Mass Instruction by John Taylor Gatto, you should do so ASAP. It's mind-blowing. God bless.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Blue Canon sent us another 10 doll hairs. Thank you very much. Chill Prism Russ says, give Kyle a job at Blaze ASAP. Well, Kyle, come work at Blaze ASAP.
Please.
Logan Welty says, yesterday's YH episode was one of the best podcasts I've ever seen. Life-giving conversation. I'm so grateful for you both, Sydney and Elijah. Also, these leftist weirdos tweeting America KKKR can drink my bong water. I agree. And I'm really glad that you guys liked yesterday's episode. Yako is phenomenal. I love him. He's very, very cool. Crashmundo says 93% of BLM protests peaceful, which means that 7% was not. 7% of 8,000 is over 600 riots. Yeah, people don't know that. Casual Gamer says the Rittenhouse verdict was a national endorsement of self-defense. There are still people who believe in justice. Today is the day to celebrate. I nearly said absolutely and 100% at the same time, and it came out as absolutely. I can't speak English. Absolutely. Brett Ain't Dead says Malcolm X would have been against white liberals using blacks for socio-political gains like BLM. He was a segregationalist and opposite of MLK. That is actually true. He was very much for segregation. The Sanity Revolt says all people with the names Martin and Luther ruin their societies and are praised by boomers.
So true. What a take. I like that one.
Zach Walsh says, John! Exclamation point. Congrats on the news Blaze job. Thus, this super chat is for the boys. May God be with Kenosha tonight.
So true, King.
Mark Hill sent us a thumbs up. Back at you, Mark. Long Don John says BLM should be thrilled about Kenosha. After all, 2 white men who said the N-word were killed.
Exactly. At least the one. I didn't know that both of them did.
Inconvenient truth. JR says, thank you for what you do. You are all an inspiration. I'm a former analyst stuck in WA state working on getting one of the freedom states. Well, come on down. Always welcome to have you. When I see WA, sometimes as I'm reading, I'm not sure if they're saying Western Australia or Washington. So that's why I read it like a disabled person, because I'm confused.
You said WA. I was like, aw.
Yeah, because I thought they were going to say, I thought JR was going to say WA as in like Western Australia, because that's what we call it. Anyway.
So it sounds like you're ignorant, but really you're just way more cultured than all of us, and you have multiple meanings for it.
A little bit, yeah. Just
okay.
in this case. Otherwise, when I can't read, that's just because I'm disabled. So, you know. Nicholas De Leon says, "Happy Friday! Oh, we must remain strong, through what is surely to come, and remember that's because Kyle's bravery is so rare among men in our world. That is why we have our issues and allowed him to go through this." Through with this trial. Yes, true. The Casual Gamer says, this is the YAH dream team. Love John, but Sydney is still too good for him. Elijah Rux and Sarah is a based superhero. Love you guys.
Virtually
we love you back.
Everything that was just said was false.
There's a lot of John Sydney shippers that want you and
it's manufactured. We are trying to. I can only
happen.
imagine that was astroturfed by the FBI, because we're trying to have legitimate political discussion here, and they're trying to lead the masses away from getting red pilled into like this. What if they were like dating or something?
No, it was definitely Elijah doing it. He thinks it's funny.
Elijah's on the plane right now. Just
Well, now it's apparently between you and Chad. So one of you is going to have to fight for my love at some stage.
I'm gonna,
Don't try to hide.
Good decision, John.
You're such a cope. Can we just keep going? I don't know why we always have to do this.
Let's keep it on the split
Tarzan
screen.
Jungle Kung Fu says, Kyle Rittenhouse, more like Kyle Cleaning House. Oh, I like you. That's funny. Noah Fox says, John and Sarah are the only suitable replacement for Elijah. I can't help but agree. I do love it when I have them both here. Don
Together,
Lee
though,
says,
John. How do you feel about that?
I don't like it.
Love you too.
Don Lee says, there should be a movie named When Kyle Met Nick.
Nick Sandman, I'm assuming.
Oh, that's cute.
When we make that movie too, it should not even be realistic. It should be like, we should take what actually happened, which is like, already like justified, and just make it seem like it was so much more justified than it was, just purely to demoralize
There's
them.
just an army of people coming after him.
Yeah,
like
World War Z type.
Yeah.
They take his rifle, he gets it back or something.
Joseph Hoffman says, I'm generally a very stoic man, but today I cheered with my coworkers when the news of Kyle's acquittal spread through our factory, and I teared up when I saw his reaction. We're all celebrating hard here in Kansas. I think Sarah's reaction was all of our reaction in studio. I noticed you tearing up a little bit there, Jonathan. Getting a little emotional.
You did look a little.
You did look a little emotional.
No, I got emotional. I didn't cry, but the time I came closest to crying during all of this.
Cry. I swear to God, I didn't cry.
But it's not like that. It's not like I'm like,
I got allergies.
I'm a guy, I never cry. The time I did,
He had dust in his eye.
I even told you that when I told you this story.
Onions.
I told you, like, I almost choked up because when he like sent me that picture of his dog, because I like, he just is a dog, he just wants to like
He's
play
so
with his dog.
wholesome.
He is. He's very wholesome, and they tried to like kill him for it.
I know.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
That was not wholesome.
Thank you for that Thank you for that, God. We appreciate it. Nicholas Stillion says, also, hi, Sarah. Always nice to see you one. And John, how do you feel about monarchies as a form of government? As a Catholic, I hold to the idea that many Catholic countries would flourish under a monarch.
Hi, hello. Nice to see you too.
This is actually the case, and a lot of right-wing people aren't ready to grasp that yet, which is okay, because I think we're going to figure it out for them. But it is true. If you're a Christian, you can't really subscribe to a document as a form of government that doesn't acknowledge the existence of God and His truth, because that is destined to fail. And you can push back against that, but I mean, the Constitution is a piece of paper, and look where that got us. I mean, clearly something was wrong if it allowed for us to devolve to this point. And you can say, oh, well, that's not the Constitution. That's because people didn't pay attention to the Constitution. But it's like, think about what that is. It's like the Constitution exists because it acknowledges things that transcend it. It acknowledges God and God-given rights. There has to be something more than just this sort of conservative tendency to fixate on the Constitution. No one gets excited about that. Look at what the left fixates on and look at how they're so successful. They fixate on moral imperialism. We're fighting for rights. We're fighting against oppression. And conservatives are like, here's this document that was written a couple hundred years ago. I didn't want to get excited about this. And that's not sexy. You know what's sexy? You know what would get like a bunch of like a generation of young men excited? The tale of like the Crusader, for example, like a knightly duty to impose good upon evil. That's exciting. Not this sort of like, well, I work for the Leadership Institute and, you know, here's the 14th Amendment stuff. That's dumb and gay. It really is. We have to return to something more rooted in objective good and truth and moral order, which is found in the Bible. So yeah, Catholic monarchy, it's kind of based.
Well, there you go. John,
Didn't exactly end well
John
in the 1500s,
wants a king.
but
That was a side. That was, yeah. Why do you think that is? Why do you think they attacked it too? I don't know. Continue.
no, I think John wants to be the king.
I know he does.
Everybody-
he wants underlings.
What would your day to day would be so much better if I were king of America?
Here we go.
Do you think?
Here we go.
Okay.
I doubt.
Worst case scenario.
I wouldn't be allowed to work.
No. Okay. Maybe. You also wouldn't be allowed to. You
Honestly,
also wouldn't be allowed to
John,
wear pants.
we're just saved
have
because
to
you
wear a
like
dress.
us. I don't want to be like incinerated or anything like that.
Let's say I'm king for a day.
Oh my God.
You wake up and check the headlines. Oh no, the prosecutor who tried to put Rittenhouse in jail for life is also in jail now. Oh, what a
fine with
bummer. Exactly. I'm a good guy. Everything would be fine.
Let's not go too far.
Wait, we wouldn't crucify them?
Wow.
It would be the vacation of checks and balances under Jonathan.
True. And everything would be, we'd have like a Trump style military parade on the National Mall. Oh,
So I don't know. Okay. Anyway, enough of John's wet dream. Okay. Ricardo Roca says, "I'm not American.
that's literally
I don't live there."
You guys are like, oh my gosh, 2 women on screen. That's his dream. I'm like sleeping so soundly, just like the enemies of the state on the National Mall lined up one by one.
Yeah, that's the
which is a
autism.
joke. It's the solution, just like the autism.
Ricardo's saying that he doesn't live in America. He's not white, but he did feel really happy for Kyle. And greetings from Panama, guys. Well, back at ya. Nat D says, "I completely disagree. The civil rights activists of the 60s had their purpose in their fight. Activists today are creating problems instead of change."
You're just incorrect.
Blue Canon says, "Glad to see John again. Wonderful news tonight. Glad to see the Second Amendment standing strong. Elijah, hope this brings you some peace. Take a break sometime soon." Well, we will be having a break over Thanksgiving, thankfully, because my brain will be putty. And Elisha's is definitely putty. Mark number 1 says, I pray black cuck coffee goes down in flames, and I hope all those C words drown. Tell us how you really feel, Martin. Brian Schultz says, "Men are allowed to shed a single tear upon the news of the verdict." Just a single one. No more than that.
Just one.
The R Heretic says, "Awesome show today. It would be awesome to see American Grayson on with John Doyle. The left's reaction will be priceless." I love reading these, like actually how they're written, because it just makes me sound demented, but it's fun. He can also show Sydney how to avoid getting trolled when reading questionable chats.
Well, that wouldn't be any fun.
Yeah, then I can't fall into little holes that you guys dig for me.
It's so funny.
Sergeant, yeah, you've missed some bad ones. Sergeant says, "First time catching the show live and super chat. Really enjoy the show, and I look forward to it every day. Listen on Spotify. Congrats, Kyle. Let's go, Brandon." Well, thank you for tuning in, and we're glad that you watch every day. That's really cool. Melissa says, "In response to the verdict and in preparation for the riots, Kenosha needs at least 50 people posted outside businesses with AR-15s. That would send a message that America supports this verdict."
They should just get like the cutout cardboard version of Kyle, but
Yeah,
life
just put
size,
him
and
there.
just put him around the city like scarecrows.
Like, we're watching you. Yeah. Tyler Rubble says, "When are you going to shave, John? Your beard looks like chops and a mustache on a Lego character."
Does it? That's not even true. I mean, I don't have like anything here, but you're probably coping. I mean, if you look at my beard in comparison to even like our beloved Elijah's beard, mine is much like it grows in fuller and it also has much more defined lines.
But
so
maybe just like that you could trim the neck up.
I didn't shave my neck before I came because
You can laser that, right?
No.
Oh, you can. Anyway.
This is,
Joshua Ryman says, Kyle stepped in and stepped up when others should have but chose not to. God bless Kyle and good luck. Totally agree. The Casual Gamer says, John needs the beard. Looked 12 otherwise.
Well, that's true.
Well,
you will look like a tiny baby. And
I do
can't
remember.
Have you on the show.
Yeah, whenever you had, what was it, your 3-year anniversary?
Yeah.
Of Heck Off Commie, and you posted the pictures from you at the beginning.
See, and I don't
did look 12. With
I think that there is something to be said about taking pride in like a youthful face. However, given like what I do, I need people to take me seriously, and a lot of people who are older don't want to take me seriously if I don't look like, because they're like, who does this kid know?
That's totally fair.
So we had to have the beard.
That's fair enough. Dirty Rico Glass says, I've been hearing conflicting places about where to donate to Kyle's Freedom Fund. Do you know where I can donate directly to him for his future? Thanks for your show. I'm a huge fan. I don't actually know. I can find out and post on my socials. I'm sure Elijah will, honestly, and maybe Jonathan will too. One of us will post.
I mean, I don't know. I heard John talks to him, so.
Sydney.
Sometimes.
I'm sure he can find
Elijah's literally going to be with him, so I would assume
I
he'll
think
have
Elijah will find out. Yeah, for sure. So just keep your eyes on Elijah's socials because I'm sure that he will post where you can, and I'll let him know to post about it too. Not Bob Saget says, John does a good job as one of the girls winning. Yeah, you really do blend in with us, Jonathan. Stargash says,
what is that supposed to mean?
Great job, girlfriend.
Dark democracy created KKK and Nazi party. Pure democracy brings free speech to the table. The U.S. faces a national rise of authoritarian neoliberals. Yes.
Wait, what was that?
Tyler says, John, how's no fun November, John? I failed about 2 hours. My girl took it in the gym sauna. What?
Wow.
I don't think that counts, right, John? Isn't it about watching porn?
It is, but I mean, what are you trying to like wave that in my face? You need to spend less time in the sauna and more time in church, frankly.
Yes. Okay, robotic serpent.
I even got the atheist to agree. Look at this. So much progress.
Just be wholesome. That's all you need to do. Just be wholesome. Buy a dog. Pat it. Love it. Something. I don't know. Robotic Serpent says, let's go. Cry harder, liberals. The American hero walks. The vindication is so strong and you haven't killed the West yet. Yet being the operative word. Minutes Before Midnight says, so happy for the verdict. This is a win for American law-abiding citizens. Love the show. Can't watch now, but glad I caught live to post. Well, again, glad you're here, and we are glad, too, that you feel the same way that we do. Rough Road Homestead says, I've never been so emotionally invested in something like this before. When I saw Crowder's show with the verdict, I cried tears of joy for this kid. I'm so damn proud of my fellow Wisconsinites who sat on that jury. True.
The Midwest.
We are too.
It is the heart of the country. When everything collapses, I will return to be the emperor of the Great Lakes Federation. You can laugh, but you're welcome. But you better stop laughing soon, or else the window's going to close.
Oliver says, I hope Kyle sues the MSN into insolvency. I totally agree. Yeah. Stephen Scray says, if St. Kyle of Kenosha comes to Florida to be a nurse, he'll be very happily received. He totally will, actually. Good Skateboard Co. says, thank God John is back there. Needs to be more testosterone in the room. Sydney, you're lovely as always, and I'm praying for you, heathen. Well, thank you, darling.
Nice.
I appreciate that. Not a Fed says, it's crazy to think that 12 random people will decide your fate, but it was genius in the minds of the founders, back when we had community. Very true. Brian Schultz says, remember, Biden says, I wake up in the morning and say, Jill, where the hell are we? Noah Nooner says, huge W for Kyle/America, but one case going our way does not mean the justice system is no longer vulnerable to corruption. We must be vigilant. It's always been vulnerable to corruption, and it's probably honestly still corrupt. This is just like one sort of win. The fact that it even went to trial is not a win at all.
Right.
Sharon B says, John, you're wrong. Kyle isn't just a kid. He is a man. We and our family stand with Kyle. He is a hero and an example to our children. Told by my husband.
If I can clarify, I don't mean he's a kid like he's a kid. I mean that to say that like what they are bringing down on him. Given that, yes, he is a man and he has more courage than probably 95% of American men, myself included. But like, I wasn't trying to disparage him. It was just to say that, like, given the context that when he was, 17, this is what's happening to him. I mean, you can look at he is very young is what I meant by that. I was not trying to claim that he was like, less masculine or courageous than like, a man or something like that. So we agree, I think.
Billy Johnson says, I appreciate the perspectives you both convey. A third for Brandon's stand-up fund. Elijah and SO, you stated crypto in case things go sideways. Check out the Crypto Cowboy token. You'll rock.
I have a stand-up fund now?
I guess so. People want you to be a comedian.
Oh, great.
I want to see Brandon's tight 15. I bet it's pretty good.
APC Doc says, Rittenhouse verdict makes me feel like there's still hope for this country. Hen Sinka says, I'm a citizen of a third world country that seems to be spiraling down, but this trial result brings warmth to my heart. When I saw the verdict footage, I wanted to cheer too. Keep fighting the rot, guys. Stand with Kyle. Well, I mean, I think it was like that for all of us, so it's nice to hear from you as well. Shading of the Heart says, this brought me to tears, thanking God that justice prevailed for the young man, and hopefully now the healing can begin for him and his family. Here's to hoping, for sure. Make-A-Wish says, Kyle Rittenhouse can never be charged again for defending himself during a riot. True. Asher says, John, are you actually going to make it all the way to Lansing tomorrow for the Never Again tour? No, he's not going, darling.
So true.
Sorry about that. The Real Hydra says, good and what is right comes from the masculine Christian males, and they would do anything to destroy what is good to usher in evil. Yes. Rachel says, I just popped a bottle of champagne for Kyle. I love how everyone's drinking to this. This is so great. Nicholas, because this kid can't even drink. He can't even have a drink.
Well, that's why we have to do it for him.
True. To your point,
in
you
honor
made
of him.
Such an important point, which is like the fact that this even went to trial isn't a victory. So it's like, this is obviously great. And I think a lot of the emotional response is because if this would have gone south, it would have been so emblematic of just how screwed we are. So I think it is fair to say that let's take today, celebrate. Yeah. It's not totally over yet, but tomorrow, let's stop pretending that like winning a trial that was so easily a case of self-defense is like actually a victory. It's almost a loss in that it was even allowed to happen, which isn't to be like pessimistic about it. I'm so happy with the outcome.
Spade.
So true. It's so true.
Nicholas,
the brevity with which you speak is just really just...
Nicholas Leon says, my family is, I'm glad you appreciate that. My family is Mexican. In Mexico, we would be considered white. Growing up here, it's mind-blowing how so many whites in the USA hate themselves or are ashamed of their heritage. But I remember back home that propaganda is now fact. Interesting. Hiram says, interesting, John Doyle. I often said I'm not a white supremacist. I'm a Western cultural value supremacist, and I won't apologize for that. Well, we all probably agree in this room with that. Christopher Oak says, woot for Kyle. I haven't heard the word woot in so long.
Woot.
Michael Buck says, to be fair, Kyle didn't fire on white people. He fired on orange juice. I'm adding orange because, Michael, if you trap me with that comment, I'll be very sad. Spencer Harmon says, gotta love your George Floyd conservatives. Sav Ricks says, death of all race ancestors, the sun, useful idiots that react with foresight. Through the moon, females, births the animal man, the werewolf, ape form from DBZ, etc., and is a copy of itself in death.
So true, King.
Yep. Sneaky Fox Jr. says, what's in that Joe Biden that ordered a missile strike against Afghanistan that resulted in innocent women and children being murdered? Why is he not in prison? Yay, Kyle. Yeah, true.
That was a nice wrap up.
Hiram says, if sharing my pizza is the criterion of ending the pandemic, it's not going to end except for Sydney and Murph. I'll share pizza with them. Well, we would like that. Thank you very much. Murphy does enjoy a good pizza slice. Primal American says, John Doyle, the IRA Gigachad.
Thank you.
That's you. Brian Schultz says, that took every gay joke 10 steps too far. Can't help but agree. George Andre Veloso Nunez says, as a gay man, I feel insulted by that BLC ad. Yeah, we do too. Matthew Hamilton says, this is one of the best commercials I've seen in so long. They're making fun of the fashion industry demasculating men. Ah, I see. I don't believe you.
But they're still like demasculating themselves.
I
so
think it was a terrible commercial.
It's
let's
bad.
be honest.
It's like the meme of the guy and he walks by those two other guys and he just goes like, duh, and then the two guys are like, go away, retard. And he's like, ha, joke's on you. I was only pretending to be retarded. It's like, but you still were like.
Yeah, I'm just going to say that ad, man, if you drink Black Rifle coffee, you'll immediately be gay.
So Brewmaster Monk says, in regards to the Black Rifle Coffee Company skit, it's full of military humor and inside jokes. It's only gay if you're not wearing boot bands.
That's probably true. We probably don't get a lot of that.
That's why I said, like, if this is actually funny, like veterans, let me know, or like people who are in active, service, let us know, because obviously we're not in the military. So sometimes it's hard to distinguish what is legitimately like a military thing where they go, ha ha ha, and the rest of us are like, what?
No, I question the military if they think that's funny.
Yeah,
it wasn't funny at all.
I didn't think it was funny either.
Yeah, go back to watching SNL.
Whatever. Yeah. Gerardo Cantu says maybe the woke rifle video is a prequel to their coffee suppository line that they are about to launch. You might be onto something.
That'll do it.
Hunter Brooks says Kyle Rittenhouse isn't the average Kyle. He doesn't drink Monsters or punch drywall. He drinks Red Bull and gives mofos wings. Ooh, we see what you did there. Joseph Ramirez says, question for Doyle, what do you think about the Native Americans' involvement in politics, including their ability to donate millions and the actual amount of natives that are registered to vote? Thank you so much.
Let them have it. We took everything else. Like, I don't know.
Sorry, Brandon was talking in my ear if you were looking at me. That's why I was nodding. Brandon was saying something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Cherry Kendall sent us $2. You looked at me and I was like, I don't know. I guess I'm nodding. Mark number 1 says, as a resident of YH bundle of sticks, that black cuck rifle wannabe. Sorry, sometimes guys, these are so hard to read. Wannabe SNL skit made me sure I never touch any of their crap. Ew. Yeah. Primal American says, John and Elijah Kings. Kyle is the MVP. Nip Fund.
It's true. And I say it all the time. It's true.
Shara DeLeon says, never underestimate shorties. Audie Murphy was 5'5" and the most decorated World War II hero too. From a fellow shorty, love from Houston. Hey, there's nothing wrong with short people.
The greatest leaders of the 20th century were all like manlets, basically. If you count FDR, for example, in his wheelchair, he was like kind of a shorter guy.
I don't know if that counts. He was sitting.
But he couldn't stand. So like, well,
rolling.
Yeah, that's true. Rolling. Same thing. Fair. QB's edit says, John will become the first neo-Gastonist president, and I will become the second.
It's true. Wait, I don't know about that. Are you going to kill me or something? You think I'm going to have term limits with neo-Gastonism?
Yeah, I was going to say, you're going to be a dictator, man.
Hey, we don't like that. That connotes bad. I'm going to just be... A
dictator, actually, based on the way that the Greeks described it, wasn't such a bad thing.
But emphasis on dick.
When people hear... Thank you, Brandon. When people hear dictator, they think like, oh, big, scary. It's going to be like a party. It's like king. That's what king. We like that word.
Gina Staley says, God is good. Praise him for walking with Kyle. The evil satanic left can suck it.
True.
God, you guys make me laugh. Oh, and happy Men's Day, John, Brandon, and Elijah. Yes, true. Actually, to all of you men, happy International Men's Day.
Happy Men's Day. We love you.
We do love you. You
Sarah,
are fantastic.
can you get me another bottle of water, please?
I'm so loved.
I mean, I can't get up right now, but afterwards.
You're busy? On International
I'd give you
Men's
mine,
Day?
but I've drunk half of it.
No, I said I can't get up right now, but I'll give you some when we get done.
Damn it, I was planning on spitting in your mouth later. Oh, this makes me so sad.
I just want to talk about politics.
When we go on our date later, I don't
We're not going on a date. I
guess we're not going to hold hands.
I just want to talk about politics.
I can't wait to hear about your date.
I will tell you all about it.
Okay, good.
It's going to be nice.
Look at this. This was outlined in Genesis. The nature of the woman is subversive. We are outlining a legitimate neo-Gastonist political movement.
Excuse me.
They're like,
we're just trying to love men, all right?
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to take you on a nice date.
Just let her spit in your mouth, John. Take the W.
Jeez.
Why doesn't Blaze have an HR department?
Come on, do you know any of us? How the hell would we ever get by with a freaking HR department?
You guys sexually harassing me every day of the week and twice on Sunday, and Elijah trying to show me his penis every day of the week and twice on Sunday.
It's all right,
like
John.
I said, how do you think that we would survive with an HR department?
Sydney, thank God he's sending his nudes to John and not us.
I know, and thank God that John is sending them to other people in the studio and not us. I mean, it would be very traumatic if we were getting them.
Blaze Media isn't. They're not sending their best, folks. They're rapists. They're degenerates. They're alcoholics, and some, I assume, are fine people, but.
Well,
I can't wait for that to
Adam. Yeah, I can't wait to get a call from like Gaston or Tyler later being like,
no, yeah, I'm gonna get the call like, hey, we signed you like 3 weeks ago.
You're already calling for a mutiny?
You're calling our hosts rapists?
The slow ascent to power.
It's a defamation lawsuit right there.
John's just
Dude,
like,
I dare you. I'll represent myself. I dare you.
We're coming at you, man. And I just said, I just want to appreciate you, okay?
I just want to talk about,
I love men,
politics.
and I want to appreciate them on International Men's Day because they never gets any recognition, and men don't realize how fantastic they are, and they never get compliments. You're all very beautiful. You're very pretty and handsome, and I hope your wives and girlfriends and daughters and whoever give you a cuddle later.
And I appreciate that, but actions speak louder than words. Let's celebrate International Men's Day. Hey, can I have a bottle of water? No, but Sydney will spit in your mouth.
I can't get up.
You can't get up. You're FDR. You cannot get up.
I'm not supposed to.
At the end of every episode, we just devolve into just nonsense.
Anarchy.
John, our entire chat would rather have her spit in their mouth than get a bottle of water.
And see, this is why they're not going to be the first king of America, because they can't stay focused. They're like, oh, my pee-pee's hard. You can't stay focused.
Yeah, but they will get Sydney to spit in their mouth.
I still win. That's not a good thing.
I don't know. Debatable.
If you want me to spit in their mouth, I'm gonna need to be paid for it. I'm sorry. Like, I don't
add it to the nip fund.
I don't do this for free.
The utter state of the right wing.
How Calhoun says, as someone who is a veteran, I took it as they were mocking each other, something common in the military, and I like how the National Guard is often very overweight. Yeah, I get that. Oh, no, because then Alex Grattan says, I'm a vet, and that was super gay. The only part that made sense was the deployment goggles, because on long deployments, even the ugly chicks start to look hot. So there you go. You always get mixed feedback with these things. Ionized G says, I'm all in for John's Squid Game references. Do you have another one to give us?
No.
This is just like in Squid Game when the one guy was like, I like that one guy and I'm going to bet a lot of money on him, I think. Okay, next one.
I liked when the squid won.
Hiram says, I'd rather be called a white supremacist than become a communist agitator. True.
So true.
The Real Hydra says racism is fake. There's no evidence of it. But as long as whites are willing to go along with this, the left will keep winning. Very
So
true. Sherry Kendall says, this is my first time watching instead of listening to the podcast. And oh my heck, Brandon, is David Spade your real father? Here's a couple dollars to kick off the NDA, the DNA test kit fund. I guess she wants to know.
David Spade?
Yeah.
No, I like to say I'm one of the children Alex Jones didn't have aborted.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Hugh says, hello, gamers. Happy blessed Kyle Day, based neogastanism. That just sounds like a disease. I'm not going to lie. John, you and Elijah's Bible talk has revived my interest in Christ. Thanks.
Let's go.
Carson says, love you guys, but hearing your comment on military humor is cringe. This vid makes plenty of sense to vets. Well, apparently not to all of them, Carson.
Tell our vets to get funnier.
Yeah, exactly. No, just Black Rifle to get funnier. The vets are all right.
That's true.
Be more funny.
The vets are fine by me, but not Black Rifle. Yeah. Sneaky Fox says you can defend yourself, but it's not found justifiable. But if it's not found justifiable, then the justice system does not get a paycheck. But if the person kills you, think of all that money they can rape from the taxpayer's wallet. True. Brian Parrish says, not guilty! ! Hiram says, I was listening to Citizen of Galaxy at work last night and thought, how the hell can I get Sydney to read this? Just suggest it, and I'll usually read it. Citizen of the Galaxy. There you go. Whole Sore Bear says, I'm not a white supremacist. I'm a white enthusiast. Interesting. Hamilton Rodriguez says, I'm a John and Sydney supremacist. Love you guys. We love you too. Martin number says, Joyle, say the F word. Doyle, say the F word, please.
Not that one, John. Not the one that'll get us in trouble.
It's like Joker. I want you to. Come on. I want you. I can't.
David P. sent us a little emoji thing. Kyle says, I appreciate you and for what you speak out on. It's refreshing to hear in Canada because everyone is brainwashed. John, I missed your uploads. Your PRN video is the best I've ever seen. Thank you. I guess that's porn.
I rewatched that.
Sorry,
because
I read phonetically.
I was giving a speech at the Catholic University of America. And it was basically the abridged version of that dissertation. And I rewatched the video to prepare for writing the speech. And not to pat myself on the back, because I never do that. That was a really good video. I'm so proud of that. And I would love to be able to top that, but I don't think I ever will be able to.
There you go. Sorry, guys, I refreshed this. I always want to get to all of your supers, but guys, you've sent so many tonight, which is amazing. Like, I'm so glad that so many of you are invested and I have heaps of stuff to say, but I promised these guys I wouldn't make them stay here for over 2 hours, and we were already at 2 hours. A lot of these, John, are about you saying that you're going to save America.
True.
That's from Joey. Hans is also saying hello to you, and they have a question. They said, what's the biggest lie that we've been told is truth throughout history? Short answer, please.
Off the tip of my tongue, it's probably going to be just the general like social liberalism of 20 years ago being what America's about. Like this sort of like, no, America's about Martin Luther King. No, America's about first wave feminism, not third wave feminism. All of that, it's all inherently liberal.
Okay. Sorry, guys, there's so many of these. We just simply don't have time to get through them. But do know that I legitimately sit here and read them actually as the show's going on, so I see all of these. Thank you to everybody who's saying for once lovely things about me, except this one. Your mother was a hamster. No offense, Sydney, but every American should be thankful for our Second Amendment rights today and our right to self-defense. I don't know why I would take offense to that, because I'm the one who's been sitting here basically every single time we talk about this going, self-defense is on trial, and it's jacked and it shouldn't be. And I think that Americans need to take the infringement of their rights more seriously. But no offense taken, I guess. This one's saying that Greg Bell says Elijah looks so much better today. So there you go.
Well,
that's
changed
nice.
a little bit.
Just a little bit. Just grew some longer hair. Miss Anthropic Nihilist says it's my birthday and this is the best B-Day news ever. Celebrating the base trial win tonight with y'all. Cheers, my guys. Happy birthday to you. Have a fantastic evening. Jeffrey says I'm a 40-year-old gay man. Clowns and drag queens scare me. Right, same. King Games says, hey John, I'd love to meet up with you at the March for Life DC next year. Will you hold a meet up there?
Yeah, let's do it. That'd be fun.
Apparently, Brandon, you want me to read a particular one, but I can't find it. Do you want to read it?
There was a $300 one from R. Bracewell that said, use this to help Elijah, Crowder, McGinnis, Hernandez. All of you deserve credit for this verdict. Hold an event, sell tickets. Oh, we already had the...
Yeah, we read that one.
Okay, there's the other one. I just wanted to make sure he spent a lot of money.
Thanks, Brandon.
You're welcome.
Let's go.
Well, to the rest of you who've left, like I said, these, because so many of you have sent supers tonight, and I'm so sorry that I can't get to them. We do really try hard because it's really you guys, and I think you already know this, but it's really you guys who keep the show going at this stage. Well, generally, in any case, you keep our shows going, and it's amazing that so many of you are invested. And I know that a lot of you are here because you love John and you love Sarah, and that's really wonderful. So I'm glad that you guys are here. I'm going to wrap up now. Sorry to say, guys. So I will. Yeah, it is hot in here.
You're so dramatic.
Jonathan, where can people find you?
YouTube.com/John Doyle, where I regularly and consistently upload the finest content available, other than, of course, You Are Here and Slightly Offensive and Sydney Watson and their adjacent channels. Sarah's channel, it's good. So, yeah.
Sarah,
do you feel better now?
I feel the same. I feel about the same.
Okay. All right,
Sarah, where can people find you as well?
Well, I've completely stopped making content right now. I'm on a hiatus, but you can find me on social media. You know what? Having kids will do that to you. Social media, Sara Gonzales TX. But I am trying to fight back in culture. Created a beauty brand, so you can buy makeup and skincare. We just launched a skincare line at AmericanBeautyBySarah.com. There's no H in Sarah because that's just an extra letter that is unnecessary. And by the way, if you want a Let's Go Brandon Christmas sweater, ugly Christmas sweater, you can go to shop.blazemedia.com. Do you guys have a code that you're using?
I think Elijah wants everyone to use his code, but if you have got one, feel free to shout it out.
Use News20. News20. Well, it's just that I'm in a war.
Elijah 20 as well.
Yeah, I'm in a war with.
I don't have a code. We
with
don't
the
have
guys.
a code.
Do I get a code?
No.
Use promo code Floyd20 for checkout bonuses.
Promo code.
Yeah, but guys, go and
Kyle
check them
is
out.
free.
I was wearing one the other night on the show. They're actually really they're really comfy and fuzzy, and I really like it. I also launched merch the other day too. If you want to go and buy ugly Christmas sweaters on my website, sydneywatson.com/merch. So
I would buy Sydney's.
John's also wearing his merch too. Yeah, dude, mine's ridiculous.
This is epic.
I just made them so stupid.
I love it.
Also, I want to say before we close out, Eva Cody, it's also your birthday too. Happy birthday! A bunch of you have birthdays today.
Happy birthday!
Those of you who are going out and having drinks again from the super chats, who are letting us know that you're doing this, that's awesome. Have a drink for Kyle. I'm sure that he really appreciates it, considering he himself cannot drink. Guys, it's a Friday night. Please stay safe over this weekend. And next week, obviously, is Thanksgiving, so I hope you two enjoy that. But, we'll be back Monday to chat to you about it. So I'll see you guys next week. As we like to say here, life is, in fact, a lot of bullshit.
I knocked it out of the park last time.
All right, go, John.
Better dead than red. 4 doors, more horrors. America's epic. Not America, not epic. We'll see you next time. It's always so good.
That was awful.